today's it's when you're able to bring back one of your own as an organization, and now we've done multiple deals with you, but with Chris, but it's so rewarding. It's such a range of emotion. Like a couple nights ago, I was pretty stressed out, and then yesterday when we were able to get it done, basically right after noon, it's just elation on all of our part. You're such a big part of all of us, fans, staff here, players, our families, probably more than you know. You know, just for me, I go home, my kids all ask about you all the time. Are we going to get this done? And so when we get it done, it's personally so satisfying, but I also know that such a humble superstar that you are, selfless person, like just what you've done for our culture, it just makes it that much more satisfying. So thank you, Chris. Today's it's when you're able to bring back one of your own as an organization, and now we've done multiple deals with you, but with Chris, but it's so rewarding. It's such a range of.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake. And how do we start off this show? As you know them, you love them, you got to have them. Bring the passion, bring our excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense on a happy hump day edition.
Hump day?
God, I hate that damn StreamYard. I don't know what the heck is going on when it comes to the intro. We got Louie from the Frozen Pirate podcast coming on here in just a couple moments. At 9 o'clock, we have the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions and Amped Up Sports. Maybe Harry the Greek, maybe Tampa Bay, Best of the Bays, Ray Kennedy. And then after that, we will have Mr. Ralph Williams. And as always, we will take your phone calls. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Like this new StreamYard setup is just kind of weird for me, and I don't know why it's doing what it's doing right now. It puts me on screen, and it doesn't put me on screen at this point. So I'm going to stop screwing around with it. But definitely hear from Chris Godwin as he talked to the media yesterday. Get some insights. As you can see, Jason Light very excited to have him back in the fold. You'll have Godwin talking about his injury, why he took less money, and how close he was. In fact, let's start out there because I know there's a lot of Bucs fans that were anxious about him leaving. But I kind of told you on this show that I had faith in the Bucs organization, had faith in Jason Light to get this done. But this is what Godwin had to say to the NFL Network's insiders. I mean, to be honest, I feel like we were really close to leaving. This is what Godwin told Sarah Walsh and Mike Garafolo on the NFL Network's insiders. When it comes to the situation like that, you have to really, really consider it. Me and my wife, Mariah, we had some really tough conversations, had some really tough conversations with my agent, because at the end of the day, you're trying to figure out what's going to be best for a family. Not everyone would make that decision, and I'm not faulting anybody that would. But at the end of the day, like I was mentioning in the presser, I have to go based off my gut, have to go based off my intuition and what I think is going to be best for us in the long run. Being here where we call home, where we feel the most comfortable, where we can raise our newborn son. By the way, his name is Ace, which is such a cool name. And I think all those things are big factors for us in making this decision. So definitely want to hear from you on what you think the Bucs have done the last couple of days. The first day officially of free agency began at 4:00. Bucs re-signing Anthony Nelson yesterday, Greg Gaines today, so that helps their defensive line depth. Of course, we talked about Hassan Reddick. What did you think of that move? In fact, I'll throw this out there. Do you think that Reddick will have a double-digit sack season? Yes or no? And how many sacks do you think he has? It's never too early to talk about that. What do you think about the Godwin move? Again, open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. We'll also go around the NFL, talk about NFL free agency and how it's had an effect on the other teams. You don't necessarily have to be a Bucs fan in order to call this show and talk about your favorite team. You Bears fans out there, I know Harry the Greek, Roger Shue, big-time Bears fans, excited. Kanaz, yes, I'm shouting you out from work there. And Policy Scott, if you want to call in, you're more than welcome. And what did you think your favorite team did? What do you think now the Bucs' biggest need in the draft coming up in April is? And then, of course, Turnbuckle Talk, where we talk about the cage match that I missed because I was on this show for 3 hours on Monday night, so I'll try not to go 3 hours again. A great cage match where it looks like it's going to be Seth Rollins, no longer Seth freaking Rollins. We'll get into that in that segment with Ralph Williams, yours truly, along with Louie from the Frozen Pirate podcast. Seth Rollins, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. Take my money. You can have it. And Tampa Bay announced for WWE events 4 days there in May. All that and more on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Friend me on Facebook at Peter H. Blake. Without further ado, let's go out to one of the newest members of the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Let's go out to Louie right there. Louie from the Frozen Pirate podcast. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
Man, doing great here. Chris Godwin re-signs. I know that you weren't necessarily the most confident. In fact, I was trying to get
6.5. I said 6.5.
6.5. So when you heard that he did re-sign with the Bucs, what were your first thoughts there? Again, welcome to the Sports Web here on a Happy Hump Day edition.
Happy to be here as always. I was excited when the news broke. I was actually doing some yard work while repairing my deck, and then all of a sudden my phone kept on going off. I'm like, what's going on? And then right off the rip, I just seen the text messages pouring in, and then I seen breaking news: Godwin signs with the Buccaneers. I was very excited because the offense stays the same, and just I couldn't see him. I was hearing things about him going to the Patriots, and I thought he would go to the Patriots just because they had salary cap money, and a few other teams did too. Just to hear that he turned down, so the rumor is he turned down $20 million from the Patriots to re-sign with the Buccaneers. Yeah. I'm so excited to have him back because this is what this locker room needs. You need guys like Chris Godwin, the guys that are not divas. How many diva wide receivers do we see throughout? I mean, I've seen so many throughout my lifetime of watching the game of football. And to have him back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Buccaneer fans, you guys should be ecstatic right now. Like, this is huge to have him come back. And I just tip my hat off to him. I respect the hell out of him. I heard some of his comments too after the signing. One stuck out to me. And again, Buccaneer fans, this is what you're getting with Chris. They asked him if he was gonna change his uniform number, and he goes, "I'll just shorten it up." He goes, "I'm not gonna do that because people work hard for their money. So people shouldn't have to go out and buy another Chris Godwin jersey." And that right there. If that doesn't make you a fan of him, Like, the guy is so unselfish and he's so humble, and I love that he re-signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I do this every year. I buy a new Bucs jersey. Godwin's the jersey I'm buying this year.
Well, and it makes sense. And I always tell, Bucks fans, just enjoy this moment where you have two professional wide receivers that are consistently professionals on and off the field. With that being said, let's go out to that Chris Godwin press conference. Please, Facebook and YouTube. I don't need another copyright strike, but we're going to go ahead and take a chance here. Let's go out to Godwin and what it means to him to sign a new contract deal here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the evolution of sports talk television. Enjoy.
I mean, it really does mean the world to me because, I feel like things like this, they don't just happen, right? Like, for a guy to have gone through what I've been through and like you said, in 2 contract years, and to be able to get a deal done with the team that they're on, I think is very, very rare. But again, it speaks to, I guess, to the type of person that I am, to their trust in me, to their belief in me, and that I'll, put the work in to not only be, the player that I was, but to be better. And I take that very, very seriously. And every time I come into work, I'm trying to be better than I was the day before. And as cliche as that is, I really mean it. And Mariah can attest to that. Like, everything I do is around ball. Like, it's trying to be the best that I can be and maximize my potential because I recognize how rare this opportunity is. When I was a kid, I would dream about these opportunities. And I think if you told, 14-year-old me that this is where I would be, he'd probably laugh at you because like it just doesn't happen this way. So it really does mean a lot to me.
So there you go. Welcome back here to the evolution of sports talk television. It's the sports web. I just love hearing that because I have that same mindset. I think there's a lot of people who want to be great, who want to strive to be great. And for me, it drives me crazy sometimes to a detriment and everything with this show, with my jobs. And that's exactly what you want to hear. And it seems like, when you watch him play, that's what it's all about. He's getting better and better, even with the injury. Before the injury last year, leading the NFL with 50 receptions. Looks like he was going to have a monster year. Knock on wood. Hopefully he doesn't have an injury this year. And hopefully he can recover. Your thoughts on those comments from Godwin?
I'm not surprised because, like I said, he's probably one of the most humble football players I've seen in quite a while, and this is a guy, I mean, he got drafted the year we had Dexter Jackson, Deshaun Jackson, took a backseat, took his job, and just never complained, and continuous, like, just an ACL injury, never gave up on himself, just worked hard, and look what he did, put up 1,000 yards that year. I'm not really concerned about his injury because I know Chris Godwin, even if he doesn't get 1,000 yards this year, I know he's going to put up touchdowns, and I know he's going to be clutch in those moments that we need him, and I know he's going to get the catches. He'll probably have, I wouldn't say no less than 800 yards, but like, again, the comments that you're listening to is from a guy who works hard, who's very humble, and I expect, again, the same usual Chris Godwin year in, year out. I'm telling you, man, this kid, I'm very happy. Like I said, I know it was a 6.5, but I'm extremely happy that he's back. I mean, again, he deserves it.
He really does. And we'll see what happens with the injury. In fact, he had that to talk about. He was asked about the injury situation. This is what he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me, I feel like I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Like you said, it's a different injury than the last one. And these things take time. So, if it's one thing that I've learned is you can't rush the process. You got to make sure that you dot your I's and you cross all your T's to make sure that you're as good as you can be. So that's really what I'm focused on doing. I've never really been somebody that's kind of like put like goals like down in that way. You're kind of like, I guess, like deadlines, because I just think like you're too focused on the future and you miss the opportunity that you have right now, right? Like, throughout your rehab process, like you have like your peaks, you have your plateaus, you have like, down days. And if you're so focused on the end goal, then you miss the opportunity to work through some of those challenging times.
All right. So there you go. And I think a lot of people are kind of wondering, when he's going to be able to recover, but the Bucs did their due diligence Jason Light did his due diligence. Chris Godwin is a fighter. He went through rehab. He's rehabbed from an injury before. Yes, it's a different injury. What are your thoughts on this injury? Do you think he can return 100? I know you're not a doctor, but do you feel like I don't feel like
a nurse.
Okay.
My
Okay.
girlfriend's a nurse. I
Okay.
actually asked her. I said, "Hey, what do you think about? Is he going to be the same?" She goes, "Well," she's like, "Louie, you have to understand. These are world-class athletes. They have some of the best people working on them. You know, I don't think Jason Light would have signed Godwin or Todd Bowles. I don't think they would have signed him if they didn't think he was going to be 100% and be like the old Chris Godwin. As far as the ankle injury, and I is it the same leg he tore his ACL?
That I don't
right?
know. That I don't know. I
I-
know that it's a dislocated ankle. Of course, I don't know what the effect of that is, and of course, there's a lot of people out there that said he shouldn't have been in the game in the first place. I don't know.
It's one of those. The game
Yes.
was out of reach, but
Right. He's going to play. He's going to play
Yeah.
anywhere he goes. I mean, you heard his comments. He wants to play. He's still competitive. The Bucs are somewhat in that game, if you will, but they're not going to beat Baltimore. So, yeah. I get it. I get it.
Would you pull Tom Brady out of the game? You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Yeah,
get what I'm
right.
saying? Like, he's
Yeah.
just a warrior. Godwin just doesn't quit, and I think that's why he wanted to stay in that game. At least it just, again, this is a prime example of, at least you see what we have. A lot of those guys, to be honest with you, Peter, a lot of those guys would have just sat the bench. Game's
Yeah.
over. He
Right.
just kept fighting. And
Right.
so I mean, if he wanted to pull himself out of the game, I think he would have said, "Coach, I'm out." It is what it is. And he didn't. So at the end of the day, I think he's going to be fine. We're fortunate to have Jalen McMillan. We've saw the emergence of Jalen McMillan. So I don't think that load for Chris Godwin is going to, we're not going to have to depend on him early right away at the beginning of the season. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, he again, you kind of wonder if he's going to be 100%, if it's going to. But again, I have faith in Jason Light and this Tampa Bay Buccaneer organization that, like you said, they wouldn't have given him, they wouldn't have re-signed him unless they knew that he was healthy. We got one more here, and this is from JP Peterson. He had this question about Godwin and the money situation here, and he expounds on it from the press conference here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Enjoy.
I think what it boiled down to, honestly, was family and just staying true to who I am. I feel like, 9 out of 10 people in this position wouldn't necessarily have made the decision that I did, but I don't do the things that I do based on what other people would do. I trust my gut. I stay true to who I am. And one thing I've never done is made any decisions like solely based on the money. I think, I'm fortunate enough to be in this position and to be here at this table again. That's a position that not many people have had. I recognize that, and I'm fortunate in that way. So for me, I had to do what's best for myself. I had to do what's best for our family. I had to do like what we're the most comfortable with, but also I work with a lot of great people, and those things really are big factors. Enjoying where you work plays a big part in this. Enjoying coming to work, enjoying going in and putting in the time, because this game is way too tough to just be out there just winging it. Obviously, I've gone through 2 big injuries now. The training camp here is not easy. The NFL is not easy by any means. We're the best in the world. 32 teams, the best in the world at what we do. So you have to really enjoy doing it, or it's not going to work the same way that it needs to. So there were a lot of things that factored into it, but those are some of the top ones.
So there you go. There's Chris Godwin on why he turned down $20 million, and we all assumed that it was the New England Patriots. We'll get out to the webheads in a moment because I know they have something to say. And again, open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 72550-391. Jason Light even mentioned it. You don't have athletes that are turning down, $20 million more. You would think he was gone. And even Jason Light talked about it, how concerned he was that he was going to go to another team. And then somehow, some way, Jason Light and crew get it done.
Yeah, that's again, that was he said it right in the beginning. He said he was stressed out about it. I don't again, this is a testament to how underrated Jason Light is as a GM, and what that front office can do. Um, uh, my co-host texted me, and we were talking about this Chris Godwin situation, and I'll read you his comment. He said,
Okay.
"Nice to see people realize that once you have more than enough money for your life, more money is stupid when it comes to comfort and family and respect are available." So what he like, so exactly everything you just heard with what Chris Godwin said is
Mm.
kind of like what I was talking about last week about, all right, how do I feel about if he's going to stay or not? And I said it's very similar to like the Mike Evans situation. It's going to come down to the wife, and he started a family out here. It's familiar, it's comfort, you know. At the end of the day, I mean, the amount of money these guys are getting paid. I mean, what he's getting paid this year, I think it's 18 million. That's
Mm.
more than enough money. You know, it's generational wealth, especially in Florida. Imagine having $18 million right now. You get what I'm saying? So it's nice to see that a guy like Chris Godwin just took the discount, because like I said, not a lot of guys would turn down 20 million, but that just goes to show you, Buck fans, the culture that this team has, and the family. It's a second family in that locker room, and that's huge. And that's going to come in key this season. You watch. And it sets an
Yeah,
example for the younger guys,
it
especially
really.
Jalen McMillan.
And I think it also goes back to Tom Brady, right? So you
Brady
saw this
effect.
3 years when he takes $25 million, it's the Brady blueprint. And people
Yep.
were kind of scoffing at it. Well, Tom Brady's gone. Well, he had an imprint on that organization. You know why? Because it rubbed off on a player like a Mike Evans. It rubbed off on a player like a Chris Godwin. They understand that you don't necessarily have to be the highest paid wide receiver in the National Football League, that if you take a little bit less, then you can help your team out. Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. We'll go out to the web heads here. Roger Shoes says he's first again.
Acknowledge me.
It's always a good thing. Go Bucs. Go Bucs. Sitton says, are we going to get a new defensive back? Need them bad. Tavier Thomas, a special teams ace, signed with the Minnesota Vikings today. So that's one more need they have. A lot of people are kind of looking at Jamel Dean saying a restructure, outright release. I mean, how do you see this situation playing out? Asante Samuel Jr., I don't believe he signed anywhere. That's kind of been thrown out there. I believe Mike Hilton from the Bengals to play the slot, that's also been thrown out there. So in your opinion, is that where the biggest need is? Is it defensive back? Is it linebacker? Because they haven't addressed that situation. They're letting all their depth pieces go, including J.J. Russell, of course, K.J. Britt being free agents. We've talked about Campbell at 19 from Alabama. I'm starting to warm to the idea. I just hope he's there. Or is it an edge rusher at 19? But right now in free agency, could you see this team going out there and making a move for a defensive back, Louie?
It's kind of tough right now because I'm looking at the updated salary cap, and they have probably about $1 million. So obviously they're going to have to restructure. There's a couple of guys out there. Unfortunately, I still think that this team, their secondary, I still think it's okay. Because they went out and signed an edge rusher like they needed. I think the biggest thing that they need is to fill that inside linebacker position, in my opinion. I mean, there is guys out there. I mean, I'm looking at, Asante Samuel Jr. is somebody I think you can kind of get on for a really good deal, a 1 year, $5 million deal, the prove deal, like Jason Light likes to hand out. Rocky Sin is still out there. That's somebody that I like. There's there are guys, but I mean, I don't think you really need to address that right now. I think what they need to do is really focus on restructuring some contracts to create a little bit more space, because you're gonna have to sign some of these rookies. And I think if they're smart, I think they could trade. They can afford to trade down because of the acquisitions, the guys that they picked up in free agency. As far as the secondary, again, there are guys out there. I'm looking at the list. There's a bunch of them. But I mean, if you think about it, we have Jamel Dean, we have Zion McCollum, Christian Izien. There's a couple of guys out there. I just don't think it's like the biggest need. I don't know why everybody thinks it's such a big need, because your secondary is only as good as your front seven. in my
Mm.
opinion.
No, I agree. I completely agree with you. And I just think there's a lot of fans that do not like Jamel Dean. They want him gone. But Louie, we saw that defense and how different they are and how much better they are with Dean. And I get it. He's inconsistent. He's not a great zone corner. He's not always the best tackler. He's not able to catch a cold. It would be nice for him to have more interceptions, although he had one versus Justin Herbert there, which was he made the play, so that's always a good thing. That secondary wasn't able, but I definitely think it's predicated on the pass rush. Getting back to the offense, then we'll go to the defense and go back to the comments in a moment. With Godwin joining this offense, do you think this offense is going to be that much better? Because, of course, you've got Mike Evans, you've got Godwin coming back, and the emerging Jalen McMillan. Do you think this offense could actually be better from last year to this year?
I think it's going to be the same. I honestly do. I don't think much is going to change.
Okay.
I just actually let me retract from that. I do think they can be better because last year there was a lot of unfortunate injuries. With those two guys, with Mike and Chris, and we had to rely heavy on a rookie running back, which a lot of people would think that was crazy, and they did fantastic. So yeah, I'm going to retract. I agree. I think they are going to be better just because. You're going to go in as long as Bucky Irvin can stay healthy and continue to do what he continues to do, and that's completely like annihilate defenses. And Jalen McMillan is going to be I think he's going to really emerge as a starter this year. I think I want to say halfway through the season, mark my words, by week 6, week 7, this kid's going to look like a true number one. I really do.
Yeah.
I think they can be better. And the offensive line, it's still the same. Nothing's really changed. Unless they trade Rachaad White in the draft to move up. I think the offense still looks good. I mean, I get they have a new offensive coordinator, but from what Baker has said and a few other guys have been saying, all it is just terminology. It's all the same plays. It's just different terminology, and they just got to get the terminology down. And this is going to be Baker's 3rd year going in with Mike and Chris. That's scary.
Yeah, it's definitely scary, and you're comfortable in that offense because, of course, you re-sign a Ben Bredesen, although a lot of people, their eyebrows were kind of raised on that with, $7 million a year, but he was a good guard. They found him off the scrap heap known as the Giants, which they continue to be a scrap heap. Sorry, Andrew, of the two giant goofballs. They're just a mess right now trying to find a quarterback, but you find a guard. He's able to come in right away, solidify that left guard position. And as we know, when you do right by this Buccaneer organization, when you take care of your business, they will take care of you. So what did you think about Bredesen being re-signed with Tampa Bay?
I think it goes back to what I said about when they first drafted Tristan Wirfs. It's not the sexy pick, it's the necessary pick. It's not a amazing signing, but it's a necessary signing because you have to keep. I think he did a very good job playing with the Buccaneers. And when it comes to the offensive line, you can't constantly rotate guys in and out, bring in new guys because there's no consistency. Like the offensive line is one of the most important parts of the offense. Same thing with the defensive line. That's where you win the football game. And when those guys are in sync, the offensive line, when they're in sync, it shows how good this Buccaneer offense can be, But when you start rotating guys like in and out, and this guy's hurt, or we're bringing in a new guy this year, now you're restarting that process of chemistry. And I think that this is probably going into this season with this offensive line, these wide receivers, the tight end room, the running backs. I think this is going to be a top 3, top 5 offense. And again, it starts with the offensive line. So I don't mind them investing money. You have to protect Baker Mayfield. Simple as that.
You do. You absolutely do. And that's
what Chicago did. Look how much money they just did. You have to protect your investment.
And look at what the Houston Texans are doing to CJ Stroud. Are they giving him any help at all? They traded Laramie Tunsil to Washington. You got to help your quarterback out. And the Bucs absolutely did that with keeping that offensive line intact. And going back to White here, he's coming back into a contract year. We kind of talked about what Matt Berry and his comments from Pro Football Talk were all about, that some in that organization favor Sean Tucker because he has lots of potential. And maybe one of these days he would overtake White. But in thinking about it, White is coming back into a contract year. He's going to want to do everything he can to make sure that his market value is up there. Tell you what, let's go out to our phone lines here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Leading it off here from Wisconsin, the Hill Mark himself, Mr. Frankie. Welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television on a happy
Hump Day
edition. Yours truly, along with Louie from the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Go.
How's it going? Hump Day.
Now, what's going on, buddy? Hump Day,
Hump
yes.
Day.
Hump Day.
Hump day, hump night.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We're almost to the
Hey,
weekend.
let me
Thank
just say this.
God.
I know it's not turnbuckle talk yet, but
Yeah.
Speedball Mike Bailey is the all elite. I just had to say that.
Who?
So,
Who?
who?
Yeah, who? What?
Oh my God.
What?
What?
I don't know what AEW is doing. We'll talk about that later. Give
What's
me some bump
AEW?
thoughts.
Talk about
What is that?
later. So,
Yeah, I don't know.
let me just say this. I have, a Christmas wish list, shall we say.
Okay, so you have a Christmas wish list in March. This is Bucs
for
fans.
Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Tampa Bay wish list for free agency. So
All right.
this is what I would like Tampa Bay to do.
All right, give it to me.
Right? We can't do this, but this is what I would like to do. Okay, so first off, we're gonna sign Asante Samuel Jr. We
Okay.
need help in their secondary.
All right, so Samuel
need help
Jr.
in-
That's it right there.
Okay.
Which, by the
Number
way,
two-
they still got to free up money here, but this is your Christmas wish list. So Samuel
This
Jr.
is the Christmas wish list.
Okay.
All right, I got five
All right.
guys on here.
This is what you
Five
did
guys.
on Madden tonight, isn't it? But right before you get on the show, this is what you put into your Madden game. So Samuel Jr.
Yeah. And honestly, we got DK Metcalf too, so it's all good.
Okay, so DK
That's
Metcalf.
not
Hold on. We got DK Metcalf. You have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Jalen McMillan. Man, there's only one ball to go around there. You know that, right?
Well, that's okay because Bucky Duck is just running all over the place. You know,
Right.
he's getting about 200 yards a game.
So you're
It's
winning
all good.
like 65-0 on the easy level of Madden. Is that what's going on?
No. I actually play it on the second level,
Okay.
and it's mainly because of my MS with my hands.
Okay.
I can't react as fast, especially with kicking field goals.
Hey, man, the field goal stuff is tough anyway. Any way it goes. You play that on all Madden or whatever. It's stupid. I don't like it at all. I don't like the kicking meter and all that other garbage. I don't like it.
So, but anyway,
Yes.
so Asante Samuel Jr., that's our number one.
Okay.
Number two, okay. Come on, phone. Cam Robinson. That's number two.
Offensive lineman?
We need a tackle. We gotta protect Baker.
Wait, whoa. Hold it
What?
here. You got Tristan Wirfs on the left side. You got Luke Gedeke on the right side. Gedeke, if he continues to play as well as he has the last couple of years, more than likely will earn a contract extension. I don't know about Cam Robinson.
Well,
I'm going to nix that.
okay, you'll nix that
I'm
one.
nixing
All right.
that one. Yeah.
You're like
All right.
$52 million right now. of
Yeah,
what-
you-
of
you-
the guys
yeah.
you want.
All right.
You're
All right. Number three.
yes.
Number three. We're going for a guard. We gotta keep Baker up. So we're going for Mekhi Becton.
Well, you already have you're going, man, you're doing all this stuff with, getting all these players, but you're already set at these positions. Yeah. I don't understand here. It's like Brederson, Mock, right guard. I mean, why are we going for Becton's going to get a starting job somewhere or get re-signed? Has he got re-signed with Philadelphia yet?
No, he's still a free agent.
Okay. All right.
He is still legally a free agent. We can still grab him.
Yeah. Okay.
So, all right. Now, my last two. My last two. All right.
Yes.
We're going for Azeez Ojulari.
Okay, that's not bad. He's 24 years old. He'll have some type of market, but okay, that's a good thought process. If you didn't get Hassan Reddick, but go ahead.
All right. Well, and then number five, we got to have a solid number two because you know what? I'm sorry, I never liked the guy.
Okay.
So now backing up Baker is Joe Flacco. Because if you need a guy that's going to come in there and do something when your guy goes down, might as well go with the best that can get it done, Joe Flacco.
So Joe Flacco. All right. You reminded me of a gold digging woman there for a minute. So I said, get a couple items and you got the whole damn store at this point. Okay. Yeah. I understand. No offense to anybody out there.
So you let me ask him a question. You would take Beckham over Mark?
I have a real soft spot for Becton.
Well, it's going to cost you a lot of money, though. I mean, it's going to cost you money. You've already got that position. I mean,
I think Cody's going to have a really good year this year too. I think he's progressing. Like his rookie year was a little shaky. Second year, you started to see flashes. But I'm telling you, he's like Brian Jensen version 2. You watch.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you cut out Becton and Robinson and just go with Samuel, Ojulari, and Flacco.
Well, somebody mentions that Samuel is 5'10", so he's not the prototypical Todd Bowles corner. So I don't know if that's going to happen. And again, the money aspect, we'll see what the Bucs do at this point. But what did you think of what they did the last couple of days there? Not only re-signing Chris Godwin, Hassan Reddick, 1 year, $14 million, only $12 million guaranteed, 59 sacks, and re-signing their other players. What did you think of the Bucs moves there, Frankie?
The big thing, and I said this to you on Monday.
Yeah.
I worry about the Hassan Reddick. Not saying he's not a good player.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
He's had issues in the past.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Well, what issues?
1 year deal.
Listen. Let me correct you on this because I kind of take exception or I take issue with somebody saying he's had issues. He's not Antonio Brown. He had one holdout.
No. I don't mean Antonio Brown issues. Okay.
He had 1 year.
I'm saying where it's like issues where the play scale has been like a roller coaster. It's been up and down, up and down.
Well, listen, I'll give you his stats. He had 1 sack last year. All right. 2023, 11. 2022, 16. 2021, 11. 2020, 12 and a half. 2019, not so much. 1 sack. 18, 4, and then 17. 59 sacks. He is a proven pass rushing specialist, edge rusher with speed. That's exactly what you want. And we'll get back to that in just a moment here with Louie.
But he's not taking number 7. That's Bucky Duck.
No, he's not. He's definitely not doing that. But he is.
Bucky Duck, that's 7.
He
that's
is
my boy right there.
I know it is, but he is a proven pass rusher. So I would get excited about him. And if I were a lot of Bucs fans out there and I hear it, I think it's a masterful move here, Louie. Frankie, thanks a lot. Man, use that second call for Turnbuckle Talk. All right, my friend.
All right, man. Have a great night.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Am I allowed to use sound bites?
Sure. Go for it.
Where do you get these fucking idiots, huh? Where do you get them?
He said, "What the F?" We'll have to talk about. That's funny. Yeah. Love Frankie there, but I understand where he's coming from. That was his holiday wish list. There, he went a little bit overboard. A lot of people will talk about Samuel Jr., Cam Robinson. Don't see that as a need. Joe Flacco maybe as a backup. We'll see. I don't think Kyle Trask is coming back. They may just go with Pratt at this point. But going back to it, we'll get back to the web heads in just a moment. I don't want to neglect you. I see you out there, Jamie, Mike D. Roche, my boy from Canada. Keep up the good fight when it comes to cancer, my friend. Kick its ass. We know that you can do it, and I'll continue to say that. Shout you out, brother. Appreciate you watching.
Anything's possible, man. You can do that.
Absolutely. The evolution. You can beat that. Absolutely. So with that being said, Hassan Reddick, what did you think of that move? 1 year, $14 million, $12 million guaranteed, coming off the holdout there from the Jets. The reports are from his camp, and what you hear is that he was promised a new contract, didn't get it, held out, was largely ineffective, missed OTAs, missed training camp. It was a disaster. And now you get a player who's a proven commodity. I get it. Last year wasn't one of them, but a proven commodity before that, still at 30 years old, and also will be hungry because, as we know, either the Bucs will take care of him if he takes care of his business or somebody around the National Football League. What are your thoughts on Reddick being signed by Tampa Bay?
So I'm going to shoot straight with this one. I love the sign. I really do. I like that they went out and got him. Not breaking the bank too much, kind of like a prove it. 12 million guaranteed. I would say it's a prove it, but I think he's going to ball out this year. I absolutely do. I think he's going to be right around the 12, 14, maybe 15 sacks this year if he can stay healthy. I think this is the perfect complement for Yaya Diaby. Also, I just, you know, I would be upset if I was him too for the organization that I was playing for, the New York Jets. Like that was a dumpster fire. Like it was such a clown show, a circus, with everything going on over there. And here's a guy that's proven, hey, I can put up the stats. You guys promised me a contract. If that is true, if they promised him a contract and they never gave it to him, there are other ways of going about it. But I mean, I'm going to give him a pass on that one just because it was the New York Jets, and we saw what unfolded the past 2 seasons with this franchise. But I for the Buccaneers, I think this is a win-win. You filled a gaping hole on the defense, and now with this signing and at a good deal, you can now afford to go out and address other issues with the draft, and that's what the draft's for. So I give this one an A+. It's a win-win, and if it doesn't work out, Pete. If it doesn't work out, the Buccaneers are not committed to him. So,
yeah, and I agree with you. And a lot of people say, well, Josh Sweat, well, did you see the money that he got? Furthermore, you have a player like a Josh Sweat already on this team and a Yaya Diaby with that power. People said Chase Young, 3 years, $51 million. I get it, he's young. But how many sacks did he have last year? And then on top of it, he gets $17 million a year. He's also a power player. You get that speed rusher finally in the fold, and I'm just surprised that more Bucs fans aren't excited about it. I think there's concern. There was also some people that were disappointed. They couldn't get Myles Garrett. They couldn't get Max Crosby. They didn't want to trade for Trey Hendrickson. We know that Jason Light loves his draft picks. Yep. Plus, you would have to pay Hendrickson, which he absolutely deserves it the last couple of years, especially last year, leading the league with sacks. Let's continue to read comments here. Roger Shoe says, hit the thumbs up. Damn it. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
YouTube super chats and on YouTube there if you like to do that. Good evening, Peter, says Tim. Thank you, Tim.
Oh, yeah.
Tuning in. Christopher Cole, as always. Evening, everyone. Evening to you.
Woo!
All right. Roger Shoe says, hi, Chris. Christopher Cole says, I watched some tape on Reddick in 2023. He's got speed, power, and moves. With all that being said, is it a clear choice here that you go with Jahad Campbell from Alabama at 19, or could you double dip here simply because you're not sure about Reddick for the 1 year? You only have him under a 1-year contract. And once again, you want to build within the trenches, which is what Jason Light has done throughout his career.
Yeah, I mean, again, going back to what I said, games are won in the trenches. Like, you have to reassure your offensive line. You have to protect your investment in the quarterback because the quarterback touches the ball every play on offense, and on defense you have to invest on your interior. And so now with what the Buccaneers can do, I would definitely go after. I would continue to try again, move up and go get Jahad Campbell because now you're adding more speed. And a lot of people don't understand. I think there's going to be some guys that are going to slip in the draft. The kid out of Marshall with his off the field issues, he's definitely going to drop, I believe, in my opinion. But as far as the edge, again, with Reddick, a lot of people are forgetting about Chris Braswell. I think the kid really came on, and I think he's going to be a good rotational player. And a lot of people are forgetting Anthony Nelson. I loved Anthony Nelson. I think he's so phenomenal, especially in the rotation. I don't think they really – I think, again, and I've been saying this, they need to trade up and go get Jahad Campbell. That is the most important thing on the agenda, in my opinion. I'm telling you right now, Peter, I promise you, if Jason Light, if you're listening, go trade up and get Jahad Campbell. I'm telling you right now, dude, this kid will make a huge impact on this defense.
Yeah, that may be the number one move. That may be where they go. I know, again, there's a lot of Bucs fans that want to see them go corner, but I agree with you. If you can get a linebacker, and I love Savasi Dennis, you're just not sure, but why take the chance? I get it. You may have Deion Jones on this team. You have Dennis. You have Levante David. Going back to Levante David, I don't know if we talked about this because this happened last Friday. What were your thoughts on him coming back?
Again, he's such a cornerstone of this franchise. He's the leader of that defense, and he plays like he's still 26 years old.
Yeah.
Do I think we're gonna have a repeat performance? I mean, I don't know because eventually Father Time does catch up to you, and I'm 37, man, and I can't really move as much as I like to, and he's a world-class athlete, so I I liked them bringing him. I liked the Bucks bringing Levante David back because it just shows that they care about their plays. They have loyalty, and a guy like Levante, I think he sees something, um, and he knows something that we don't. Because I don't think he would have came back if the Bucks were like, "Hey, we're not gonna go pursue an edge rusher. We can't afford it. We can't do this. We can't do that." He would probably just call it quits. But I think I think he believes that this team can win a Super Bowl, and I had high hopes of him coming back. I wanted him to come back because he plays phenomenal. But again, you bring in a guy like Jahad Campbell to learn underneath him. You, just it's we I like Savasio Dennis a lot. I really do. I don't think he's Levante David. I think a guy like Jahad Campbell could really learn and take in everything from Levante because Levante David, in my opinion, right behind Derrick Brooks, is one of the greatest Buccaneer defensive players of all time, in my opinion.
I think you're absolutely correct about
Why wouldn't you want to? Why wouldn't you want to bring in a young guy like Jahad Campbell to learn from a Levante David? Not saying that Savasio Dennis cannot. Not saying that, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you saw the film last week that we were going through with Jahad Campbell. The kid can cover. He can wrap players up. He's amazing in the red zone. He bats balls down. I mean, this is a guy to learn under Levante and bring all those tools, and now you're teaching him leadership like Levante. You're gonna have a scary defense, man.
You are. Speaking of their defense, they also re-signed Greg Gaines, 3.5 under the terms of the agreement. He began his career 2019 fourth-round pick for the Rams. Once again, depth. Gaines appeared in 35 regular season and playoff games, made 5 starts in his first 2 seasons in Tampa, had 50 tackles, 3 sacks, fumble recovery, and those outings. Once again, just getting the defensive line. I think Nelson was huge, especially against Carolina. If you don't have him in that game to cause that fumble, more than likely the Panthers win that game. And who knows if you win the NFC South. He's highly durable. I think he's a rotational piece. But like you said, Todd Bowles has had him out in coverage. He's gotten some sacks. He's made some big plays. Gaines, once again, a good depth piece. I mean, this is what you do if you're a very good organization and a great organization. And I kind of harken back to Rich McKay, and it was tough being a Bucs fan back then because you always wanted them to make that big splash, and their big splashes were they re-signed their own players. And this is what you're seeing with Jason Light getting the re-signings done, whether it's a Baker Mayfield, it's a Mike Evans, it's a Chris Godwin, it's a Ben Bredeson, it's Anthony Nelson, it's Gaines. They're looking to re-sign Tristan Wirfs, re-sign their own players and get it done. And again, that's the mark of a great organization, right?
There's a reason why we've been in the playoffs, 5 years in a row consistently?
Yeah.
It's because of moves like that. Those make a big difference. And it's the same thing. It goes back to what I'm saying with the offensive line, with what my co-host Jamie says. Every Super Bowl team, every team that's won a Super Bowl, their offensive line has played together consistently for 4 or 5 years. Jason Light knows what it takes to get a Super Bowl trophy. He knows he knows. He started off in New England, and to come down here and do what he did, doing what he's doing right now. If not, he's probably one of the greatest GMs, and he knows he's really in tune with us, the fans. He knows. Imagine him letting Mike Evans walk out the door. Imagine him letting Chris Godwin walk out the door. You know what I'm saying? He protects his guys. He brings back guys that the fans like, and he brings back the right guys, the necessary guys. Has he hit on every single draft? No, nobody does. Nobody's perfect. We talked about that. Nobody's perfect. But I'll tell you what, he's putting some damn good teams together. Him, Todd Bowles, they putting some damn good teams together, especially in the draft, especially re-signing players. I don't know many GMs out there that could do what he's done. And I round of applause for him, man, because he's done a fantastic job year after year after year. Remember the year when we had no quarterback, Tom Brady retired?
Yes.
Brought in Baker Mayfield. Everybody was in a nutshell about it, like, oh, this isn't going to work. I said they were going to go 8-9 or whatever it was. They made the playoffs, and they gave the Lions a run for their money, especially with dead cap money. That just goes to show you how valuable Jason Light is to this Tampa Bay Buccaneers franchise. So
with what Todd Bowles and this Bucs team have been able to do now with the expectations sky high. I heard this on local radio this week, and some people agreed, some people disagreed. Do you feel like Todd Bowles, of course, has to win in the first round and has to ultimately get to the NFC Championship game? Or once again, we're having this conversation about him being on the hot seat? Or once again, is this unfair? Because I think it's kind of like Mike Tomlin, right? So Mike Tomlin every year gets the most out of his teams, but then doesn't win a Super Bowl, doesn't necessarily get through the first round, but he gets the most out of his team. Todd Bowles has gotten the most out of his team. He gets the most out of his players. His players play for him. You saw the survey about a week ago, B+. You win the NFC South how many years in a row now? 4 years in a row, 5 playoff appearances. Is he going to have to get to the NFC Championship game? Or once again, Louie, do we think we're going to have this conversation about him being on the hot seat? And do you think the fan base will ever buy in to Todd Bowles as a coach?
I believe this is a make or break year for Todd Bowles. I really do. Just because there's only so many times you're going to go 8-9, 9-8, and they have been winning the division. But now it's starting to get closer. Now we have a team called the Atlanta Falcons, who I consider now a rival, more than the Saints now. It's always going to be, I hate the Saints. But now the Falcons are a team that I respect because, they've given us a run for our money. Todd Bowles needs to put together a very good team this year, and they have been doing that. So for me, my expectations last year were NFC Championship game. Again, my expectations this year are NFC Championship game.
Yeah,
I give Todd Bowles a pass this year because I don't know many teams that would still make the playoffs, be on top of their division with a rookie running back, rookie wide receiver, and a depleted defense, and both your starting wide receivers hurt. Not a lot of people take that under consideration. I understand the Lions had injuries. I understand, the Rams and other teams, but not many teams could do what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did this year with those injuries. You lost both of your starting wide receivers, and you still managed to give the Kansas City Chiefs a run for their money. The San Francisco 49ers, you were always in every game, never got blown out. So I like Todd Bowles. I've always liked Todd. Have I gotten frustrated with him? Absolutely. I'm a human being. We're fans. It happens. But Todd Bowles, in my opinion, I respect the hell out of him. He's a great human being. He's a great father. The players play for him. No matter what the media says, no matter what you say, I say, anybody else, they still go out and they still go play for that guy. So that's got to say something. But to answer your question, do I think he's on the hot seat? No. But I think if we start to see, if everybody's healthy and we start to see the same kind of performance, if they don't make the NFC Championship game, I think there's a big problem. I think we might be looking for a new coach next year. And I will say this about the Pittsburgh Steelers. If they don't make it to the AFC Championship game, right, I wouldn't be surprised if you've seen a familiar face like Mike Tomlin interviewing for a job with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if the Steelers let him go. It's been a long time he's been there.
We'll get back to that because I want to know your biggest concern, but let's go out to Curtis. Curtis, welcome to the Evolution.
Well, I just want to piggyback off of what he was saying.
Yeah.
Listen, last year, before this team got beat up and injured, teams were afraid of this team.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we were the only people to beat Philly and the Lions. Only for a long time.
Yes.
And before we got injured, we looked damn near unbeatable.
Well, I mean, you have your moments there, and I get it. I understand some of the frustrations with the fans. Let me go out to Louie here. Curtis, hold on a moment because I want to know why. What's your biggest beef with Todd Bowles? What's your biggest concern with him, Louie? What drives you crazy about him?
Number one, here's the thing.
My biggest concern with Todd Bowles is so during the Chiefs game, we had nothing to lose. And he didn't go for the 2-point conversion. If you would have got it, that would have been huge. If you didn't, see, someone like me, I always say, hey, I'm a football realist. Like, I'm a huge Bucs fan, but I'm still a realist. In that situation, I'm going for 2. Same situation with when they were playing against the San Francisco 49ers. You should have just went for it. You have nothing to lose. I want to see Todd Bowles. This is my biggest thing with Todd Bowles. I want to see Todd Bowles get a little bit more riskier. Not riskier. Poor choice of words.
More aggressive.
More aggressive.
Yes.
To quote
I
Bruce
agree.
Arians, no risk it, no biscuit. And I think we need to go back to that just a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think I could definitely, guys, I think I could agree with you on that because I went on the show. You must be watching this show because I said after the game, I was disappointed because you put it in Patrick Mahomes' hand and you depend on a stupid overtime rule, which hopefully they changed.
You had the Chiefs on their heels. Arrowhead.
Go for 2 points to win the game. If you lose it, fine, you lose the game. But at the end of the day, you depend on your offense instead of your defense, which it's very questionable with injuries, with zone defense, with lack of pressure. Curtis, what's on your mind, bud? What do you? Todd Bowles.
There's really nothing on my mind because Jason Light does a phenomenal job of answering the questions to the question marks every year.
Yes.
He puts us in a position where we can go draft the thing that we really need, or he drafts the best player available every year.
What's the biggest need right now for the Bucs? Is it linebacker? Is it corner? Is it edge rusher? What do you expect this team to do in free agency? Could they go for a corner, or do you? And then in the draft,
well, I would definitely say you need a linebacker or a corner.
Come
because you have to replace Levante David.
Come,
you're going to have to. I mean, you don't just go pick up a Levante David anywhere.
No.
Nope.
They don't grow on trees anymore.
They don't. No.
And then a decent, a good corner would be good too.
Well, it would be. It would be. And I still think they're going to keep Dean. Maybe they keep him at a lower rate.
Dean and Zion aren't going anywhere.
Okay.
They're not going anywhere. They're decent players. Here's the problem with the Bucs had last year.
Okay.
We couldn't get we didn't have enough sacks. We didn't have enough pressure.
Right.
Okay. Agree. That's what it comes down to. The front seven was not very good.
If you go back and you watch the two Washington games, Washington never turned the ball over, not one time.
No.
Not one time.
No pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Games are won in the trenches, man. And that's why I said the middle was wide open the majority of the time. Guys like KJ Britt, teams take advantage of that. Oh, they know. They see the tape, man. I'm not a coach. I'm not a coach, and I watched the All-22, and I seen that the coverage with KJ Britt was atrocious.
But we'll use the Chargers game as an example. They had Herbert running for his life.
Yes.
On a bad ankle.
Yes, he had him running for his life, and you saw that. We talked about Dean getting that interception. Why was that caused? Because you got pressure on him, and you didn't have enough of that consistent pressure.
The secondary looked good too in that game, huh?
That's it. They did look good, and although
that's because all the pressure.
Well, all the pressure, and then on top of that, again, you force the quarterback into things that he doesn't want to do, and you mess up his timing. That's what's going to ultimately happen. With that being said, Hassan Reddick is now in Tampa Bay. I think that he could be a double-digit guy. And I threw this question out tonight to fans, and I throw it out to you, Louie, throw it out to you, to Curtis. How many sacks do you think Hassan Reddick would have? I think 11.5 to 12 at this point.
I said it Monday. We'll see what's happening.
Okay.
But if he lives up to his potential, he's going to be a double-digit guy.
Yes. Why not? I think he could do 12 sacks, 11 to 12 sacks this year.
You know what? I'm going to say this. I can see him and Yaya both doing double digits.
Wow. That would be amazing.
I can agree with that. I think Yaya will be around the range of maybe 9 or 12 sacks. And I think Reddick would probably get 15.
A lot of great games last year. He just didn't close.
Yeah.
He just didn't close them out. That's all it was.
Well, you heard Todd Bowles a couple of weeks ago say that he thought Yaya could have had 15.5 sacks. And that's what he expected. And you look at the pressure rate is there, and he's a power guy. He needs to develop some more moves. He needs to win on his one-on-ones, and you're exactly right. He didn't finish. By the way, speaking of somebody who's finished or didn't finish for the Bucs, JTS gone to the Cleveland Browns. Good luck with that one.
All gas, no brakes.
There you go, man. So
all gas, no brakes, man. I'm not gonna hate on him too much. I think the problem with JTS is wrong. He's not a Todd Bowles guy. Wrong system, unfortunately. Best of luck to you with the Browns. I think he's probably gonna do a lot better now that Myles Garrett re-signed, he'll probably have a better year. But I don't know. It just wasn't a good fit. And it's not that he doesn't have the talent, because he does. It's just all gas, no brakes. That's what I like to call him, because he would rush, and you would think this is somebody who I thought was going to be. He reminded me, like, his stop, like his physique and stuff like that, kind of reminded me of Simeon Rice, not like the play wise, but I'm just saying, like, the build. And I'm like, there's some resemblance there. And you just see him rush the quarterback, and it's kind of like with my nephew right now. I'm teaching him like angles in football, and it's just like you constantly just blow by. Like, I don't know, it's just something. He just couldn't wrap him up, but he's going to the Browns now. We don't have to deal with that anymore. So best of luck to him. All gas, no brakes.
Yeah, all gas, no brakes.
Anyway, guys, I gotta go Bucs, and
Go Bucs.
we'll see what's gonna happen soon.
All right, so you're gonna call back for turnbuckle talk? All right, he's gone. So there you go. He said go Bucs. Let's go! All right, open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter, along with Louie from the Frozen Pirate podcast. I got it good. All right, let's go back out to the comments here. We need a DB for sure, says Jim.
Damn it, Jim, what the hell's the matter with you?
So he says DB. Could you see the Bucs going DB at 19 if they don't go in free agency? Because, Asante Samuel Jr., 5'10", not the prototypical Todd Bowles corner. He likes the big guys, the taller guys. Could you see them going corner at 19?
I mean, if there's no possible way that they could get Jihad, or, I think they probably do take the best player available. I have a funny feeling that he's going to trade back. I think he is. I think he might just trade back. I don't know.
That's a good assumption, because you can pick up extra picks. You have needs that you can fill, and the talent probably is the same at 19, maybe until 26 or 27. Maybe even further down than that. Jason Light has done that before. He has a propensity, Leo word, of doing that. Let's go out to the phone lines. What's your name? Where you're calling from? You're on the Evolution.
Hey, what's going on, Peter? This is Tristan.
Tristan, what's going on, boss? How you doing? What do you think about the Bucs and what they've done so far here in the early days of free agency?
Yeah, I kind of was scrolling the old timeline and seen you guys talking about the Bucs, and I kind of came in on the bad part, and I was like, "What is going on here, Peter?"
Well, what's the bad part? We'll go ahead and expound on this, Tristan.
What is this Jason Light warship that I'm hearing?
Oh, come on now. On this show, we love Jason Light. We feel like he's the best general manager in the league. And you look at that draft last year, you look at him re-signing, a Mike Evans, and being able to restructure and signing a Chris Godwin and keeping this offensive line intact. I think he's done a lot better, a lot more positive, if you will, than a lot of negative than some Bucs fans think, especially getting Tom Brady and JPP and Ndamukong Suh and Gronk and Leonard Fournette and setting up that team so Tom Brady could choose this organization to win a Super Bowl with. So I definitely think he deserves the credit, and most likely will go down as the greatest general manager other than Rich McKay in Bucs history, in my opinion. What do you say?
See, and this is why I get caught up in the hook, right?
All right, get caught up here. Let's get caught up with Tristan. Here we go.
It's a tale of two stories with Jason Light. Like, I get the recency bias, so to speak. And I over the years, I broke it down. Now, first, let me preface by saying he has done good work as of late. So I don't want to take anything away from him. But prior to Tom Brady coming here, he did have 8 seasons as a GM, and which were trash. Just to be honest with you.
Some of that was his fault. We got that. I mean, Jameis Winston didn't help. I mean, some of the moves, also some of those moves were Lovie Smith, but I'm not going to sit here and say that Jason Light didn't trade for a kicker. I'm not going to sit here and say that he didn't get Noah Smith. I'm not going to say that he didn't have, some bad draft classes. Every general manager has that, but overall, the majority of the time, he's hit on his picks. He has. That's why this team is in contention every year. I think that's fair.
Can't say majority. We got to say recently. Recently, he's gotten a lot better. If I was on the job for 8 years and I land Tom Brady, I'm pretty sure the expectations should raise a
Well,
little bit.
Tristan, look, Tom Brady's not going to choose anybody. He's going to choose a ready-made team. And let's face it now, Jason Light was very responsible along with BA for making over that team and making it very attractive so Brady could choose them. So he definitely deserves that credit. Oh, by the way, first round pick, Mike Evans, not too bad. Chris Godwin in the third round.
Yeah.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Just
Ali Marpet. I mean, come on. Let's go through it now. Come on now.
I mean, so what we're going to say, O.J. Howard, Vernon Hargraves.
Okay.
I mean,
Listen, you're not. So I got to chime in here.
Yeah, Louie, go ahead.
Tristan, let me ask you, who's your favorite Buccaneer player right now?
Right now?
Yeah. Like when you think best Buccaneer player of the past 10 years, who is it?
Well, we can't say last 10 years. Obviously, the lead, when you say 10 years.
No, 10 years. Like, who's your favorite Buccaneer player for the past 10 years?
The best player on the team right now is Tristan Wirfs by far.
All right. By the way, he picked
Jason Light drafted him.
He traded up with San Francisco. San Francisco took Javon Kinlaw, which, by the way, he just signed with the Washington Commanders. So they got that looks pretty good there with Tristan Wirfs looking like a Hall of Famer at this point. Mike Evans, once again, most likely a Hall of Famer. Chris Godwin has an opportunity to be a Hall of Famer. That duo may go down as one of the greatest wide receiving cores, not named Jerry Rice and John Taylor. Just saying, I know the game is different, but I'm just throwing it out there. And then on top of it, you find the reclamation project of Baker Mayfield, which I know, Tristan, you're not the biggest Mayfield fan, but still a highly productive quarterback leading this team to 2 straight NFC titles, 4 in a row. That's definitely Jason Light, the architect. And that's why we have a love for Jason Light on this show. We do.
I think Jason Light's done a fantastic job. Like I said, he got guys like Tristan Wirfs, Vita Vea. Like, look, Antoine Winfield Jr., every draft is not going to be perfect by any means. It's very hard to do. That's why I don't even do mock drafts, But what I'm saying is you can't hate on the guy because, obviously I'm in Massachusetts. I've seen the Patriots for a very long time. Who's their GM? They didn't even have a GM. Their GM was Bill Belichick. Look at that draft record. And look at them now.
Here's Bill Belichick as a general manager. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you see, look at the Bears.
Why?
Look at the Bears.
Yes.
Look at the Bears for the longest time. Look at a lot of these teams rotating GMs, setting their franchise back. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have consistently, for the past 5 years, have played in the playoffs. They've put a very competitive team out there. You know what I'm saying? And he hasn't let any of these star players walk. Mike Evans, if Mike Evans was with the Patriots, Belichick would have let that guy walk. Vita Vea, all these guys would have walked. He continuously brings these guys back. And I mean, everybody has their own opinion. But if you're going to say Jason Light's not very good, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Name me somebody better. Name me somebody better right now.
Well, there are a lot of people who would say Howie Roseman of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a fair assessment. He's done a very good job.
Yeah, it's easy when you keep drafting everybody from Georgia on your defense.
That's what you just said real quick, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
The same spark that ignites the car also blows the engine. So
Absolutely.
When you say about Bill Belichick, you say the last 5 years when he was the GM, is one major thing you neglect to say there. That's in the absence of Tom Brady. You don't make 8 Super Bowls in 20 years. Well, 10 Super Bowls, my apologies, 10 Super Bowls in 20 years and say that all of a sudden you got bad. You lost the best player to ever play the game. And oddly enough, we got the best player to ever play the game, and we won the Super Bowl.
And who brought you the best player in the game?
Who brought
Jason
you?
Light.
That's it.
And that was his ties. Him and Brady were good friends out there in Foxborough. I'm telling you, Jason Light was actually a draft prospect.
Man, that don't mean that we slept together.
No, I get you, man. I hear, but you got to give Jason Light some credit, man. You got to give him credit. He's put a fantastic team together. Hey, we could be the Cleveland Browns.
We could be the Cleveland Browns. How about that, Tristan?
For 8 years, do you think that Bill Belichick would have had 8 years to finally get the draft right?
8 years.
I mean, you're acting like Jason Light in those 8 years didn't nail some players. I mean, we're talking about Ali Marpet was pretty good, all all pro there. Again, you had Chris Godwin, you had Mike Evans. I mean, there were parts there. And going back to 2019, you knew
Robert
what the story
Hainsey.
was. Well, yeah, he was, effective starter. I mean, he made some moves. He made the moves, but you always needed that quarterback. I'm not saying Jason Light is without fault because he's had his fair share of draft bust. He's had his fair share of misses. But I would say for the last, the last 10 years, maybe the 8 years. 8 years and beyond. 8 years, he's definitely been on the money with his draft picks.
I mean, like I said, I think 2022 was probably one of his best draft classes. Even last year wasn't too bad, and I think this year is going to be even better.
Year was great. I mean, you got Graham Barton, you had, and I think Braswell could be really good. I get it. JTS was a bust a couple of years ago after the COVID year, but you had the 32nd. You weren't sure. It's first round pick. Kyle Trask wasn't very good. That's not a very good pick there when it comes to quarterback. A lot of people blame him for Jameis Winston. That was a Lovey pick also with him, but that was his quarterback at the time, so it didn't necessarily work out. I know that's a lot of people judgment on that, but look at last year. You had Graham Barton, Jalen McMillan, Bucky Irving, Tyke Smith, Culp having some contributions there. So
Durham, Elijah Cansey, a lot of what I'm saying? Like even the 2022. You got Rashad White, Logan Hall, Luke Gedeke, Zion McCollum, Keefe, Cade Otton. These are guys that contribute, and these are guys that are still on the team. I think the Buccaneers actually, you can go ahead and fact check me, Tristan, if you'd like. The Buccaneers, I actually believe they have the majority of their rookies. I think the past 3 years or 4 years are
second youngest team, Tristan,
second youngest team, and all their rookies that they've drafted in the past. I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years are still playing on this team and have worked out.
Yes, and they're contributing.
Inaccurate. That's not accurate. Last Tristan Wirfs was the last starter that from that draft class. Prior to, I believe there were.
Well, guys, we got some breaking news. You guys want the breaking news?
Yeah, I know what it is.
You guys want the breaking news? Here it comes. Here. I'm gonna play the draft chime because I don't have any important music. According to our friend Jenna Lane of ESPN, Buccaneer quarterback Kyle Trask agrees to a 1-year deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Let's go! And this is the guy you're telling me about, Peter. This is worse than Rocky, I tell you.
No, don't even try to do that. I'm not the biggest Kyle Trask fan, but he does know the system. And obviously,
he never got a chance though.
And listen, he may knock on wood. Hopefully, Baker's not hurt, but if he does get that chance, but he'll get a chance. He's got a 1-year contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So there you go, according to Jenna Lane.
Word to the wise. You never double down on a bad mistake. And he just doubled down on a bad mistake. If next year, if Kyle Trask has to get in, woe be tied to the Buccaneer fan base. Now, clearly, though, I think that paves the road perfectly for us to draft a quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round pick, justifiably so. So now it makes sense to draft the QB in the first 2 days of the draft. Secondly, unpopular opinion.
Wow.
I did hear you ask about draft options here on what we think should be drafted.
Go for it, Tristan.
Usually, I'm all about the splash players, and I'm a big defense guy first and foremost. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. The need a
Tristan,
cornerback
when you say that, Tristan, when you say that, you remind me of my former co-host Sean, the Sports Don. So that makes me all warm inside because that's exactly what Sean, the Sports Don, used to say when he was I'm a defensive guy. I'm a defensive guy, Spider. I'm a defensive guy. So it's good to hear that, Tristan. I appreciate that.
Well, if the guy was a genius, just say that, Peter. Shit.
Shut up and be quiet. He was a smart guy. He was a smart man. We love you, Sean, the Sports Don.
Okay. So the Bucs, first round of the draft, we should draft an offensive lineman.
Wow. Why an offensive lineman? That's interesting. Why offensive line? You're not a big Luke Gedeke fan?
No, it's not. It's not about Luke Haggerty, and he did show improvements last year. But we have the opportunity to do something which a lot of football teams, since the Dallas Cowboys, don't get a chance to do, and that's lock in the O-line indefinitely for a 5-year run.
Right.
With Tristan Wirfs anchoring the defense, with Graham Barton holding down the middle, and the guys that we have up front, and Cody Mouch holding down the guard spot and growing and showing tremendous strides over the course of the last year and a half.
Very good in the run game, too.
We can lock down that position group and have them very, I guess you can say, where the payroll match is underperforming the actual field performance. Just think about a great O-line in front of Baker Mayfield or whoever else. We had a 1,000-yard rusher for the first time since Doug Martin last year. If you get the position right and you get the position group locked in, you can, and we understand that Mike Evans probably has about a good 3 to 4 year window tops. You lock down the position group and you can build on that for the next generation of talent that comes into the building.
Okay. So you go with the tackle, you go with the guard at this point.
I go with the best available, guard or tackle, whichever one is best available.
Okay. All right. I'm surprised you didn't go with the defensive lineman or a linebacker. I mean, if you don't get an offensive lineman, if I put a gun to your head right now, and I'm not going to do that because you seem like a big guy and you could probably beat me up. Never put a gun to anybody's head, but just saying, if I did that, would you take a defensive lineman or would you take a linebacker?
Well, I would want to say you always want to start up front with the D line.
Okay.
And you solidify the front portion and the back end to follow. Last year with the rotation that we had up front, no pressure, nothing that could happen. And like I say, not the biggest Vita Vea fan, but I do respect the position. But if you get some guys up front that can do more than just stop the run and actually can get after the quarterback, I think that you'll find that we probably have a lot more talent on the back end of that defense and what's been shown over the course of the last few years.
What was your thoughts on Reddick being signed? Do you like that move?
I give Jason Light that. This is why I say it's the tale of two cities with Jason Light. I thought the Hassan Reddick was a very low risk, high reward gamble.
See,
my only problem with that is I would have signed him to like a 3-year, 30 mil, 35 mil, just to have him in house and see what happens. 3 years with 20 mil guaranteed or 25 mil guaranteed, it wouldn't even have hit the stat sheet. And if he would have outperformed the contract, he was in a prove-it year. Like, you really want to sign those type of players up for a nice little chunk to where it doesn't hurt if you got to cut them. But then if they do outperform the contract, they can come back to the table in 2 years and get a nice play. If he does a Shaq Barrett next year, comes out and has 22 sacks, oh my gosh, we done put ourselves up in it. You dummy Jason Light.
That's not a dumb move because you keep that guy hungry. He's going to be hungry to prove himself. And if he does, you'll go off like Shaq Barrett, then you'll have a decision. It's a good problem to have. And more than likely, the Bucs will make that. And that's why I say you only got him on a 1-year contract. So you may draft, a Mike Green out of Marshall, or you may go with, I can't pronounce his name, from Boston College to save my life. The Donovan kid.
I know what you're talking about. These names are like, they're getting harder and harder now. The more they come out.
Roque, I think it's a Roque. Roque.
Yeah. Well, when you said Boston College, I'm like, no, we don't care about Boston College.
Come on.
Come on.
Look at the tape now. Look at the tape. All right.
No, I mean, I will say this: you didn't like Shaq Barrett.
I like Shaq Barrett. Don't get me wrong. I just think that once he did what he did what I thought he was going to do. That was a one-off season for Shaq, and literally his stat line and everything he's done shows that was a one-off season.
He was dealing with a lot, though. He had in his defense, I will say, the second year he had a little bit of a drop off, but that third year he was injured.
Got hurt,
and then that stuff happened with his daughter, and I gave him the utmost respect because as a father myself, if that would ever happen to me, I don't even know like the thought process. So for him to go out there on the field and do what he did, especially with what happened with his daughter, I don't even like talking about it. It's such a terrible thing that happened. So I will give him, in his defense, I mean, he's had a lot of traumatic stuff happen in the past couple of years, but
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with you there, but that's why I say I prefer to keep it on the field because when we talk about personal stuff, I know a player that went out there and lost his damn mind. And, the sympathy, I really don't got much sympathy for that, Antonio Brown, that is. But that's totally different story.
He's hilarious. He's hilarious on X, though. I must say.
Shut up!
Friggin' Antonio Brown.
Not much we can do about that, right?
No, that's not much.
But
yes.
at the end, though, I respected Shaq. Again, the money that we initially paid him, sometimes you want to overpay for potential as opposed to underpaying for performance. Because, like I said, if he exceeds that contract, you got to see what Myles Garrett just did, getting almost $40 million a year guaranteed.
Yeah,
he's that $14 million. You're gonna have to put some more ham on the burger, and we're talking about $35 million if he does. If he puts himself in the MVP conversation, which he can, just like Shaq Barrett did, considering the teams that we play. And considering the talent and the health of this roster next year, and also Todd Bowles implementing what I think will be a totally different type of defense next year.
Love it.
So,
good stuff, Tristan.
That was good. I appreciate that phone call.
Use that second call. We're going to give you the Ric Flair.
Woo!
Appreciate it, Doc. Talk to you later.
All right, man. Good stuff. I like him. I like his calls. I mean, he makes you think.
Very different.
We've gone back and forth on this, but it's always a great call with Tristan there. Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. I like the 1-year deal because you get a hungry player, and at the end of the day, that's what you want from Reddick. He's also a mercenary. Let's go out to this guy right here. Let's go out to Sun Devil Dave. Sun Devil Dave, welcome to the Evolution. Great job.
Great job, man. You guys are awesome, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Louie, Frozen Pirate. Good to see you there.
Absolutely, man. Louie's killing it, man. A new addition here on the Evolution.
What's today? March 12th?
March 12th, yes.
2025?
Yes.
All right. So going on the record, if we keep a good defensive back healthy, Baker Mayfield's going to win a Super Bowl for the Buccaneers.
I love it. I think
bold. I like it. It's a bold statement. Good juju.
I think it's certainly possible because they have a couple moves here. I still think they have to shore up. I think you still have to get another edge rusher. You maybe have to get one or two more linebackers, depending on what they're going to do at this point with Deion Jones. Looks like they're maybe bringing him back. You go into the draft. Maybe you draft a Campbell at 19, and then you go in the later rounds and get somebody else. I think they're very close. I think they're very close.
You mentioned that we don't know the schedule yet. If you go to Buccaneers.com, they already have the 25 opponents home and away.
Yes, they do. They do have that. Right. Yes.
I didn't know you. Okay, so Eagles at home, Niners, Patriots, Jets, Cardinals, and then on away we got Rams, Seahawks, Dolphins, Bills, Lions, Texans.
I mean, the Bills. You look at what they did. They get it's going to be tough on the road, especially against the Bills.
I'm going to try and go up there. I'm going to try and go to Buffalo for that game. I'm pretty close to, not close to Buffalo, but I'm going to try and make it for that game. But the one game I have circled on my calendar is that Patriots-Buccaneers game. So my girlfriend is a big-time Patriots fan. And when we went to Tom Brady's last game, I told her, I said, this guy, you guys lose this game, he's going to be a Buccaneer. No, he's not. And then the news broke, and she's like, he's not yours, like flipping out. I'm like, he's on the team now. But
Did you have to sleep on the couch? Did you have to sleep on the couch for that?
I know we kind of got into it that night about that. And I told her, I said, hey, it's happening. And I used to mess with her too, because you know how when you go on NFL.com, you can create a jersey, like put the name. I said, look, this is what it's going to look like before like any of this started happening. She's like, yeah, okay. But I put, instead of 12, I put 10 because, some guys like Aaron Rodgers, they change their number when they go somewhere else, I thought he was going to use the same number he used in college. And I said, look, I'm ready to order it right now. And she's like, he's not going there. And then the news broke. He came. So, yeah.
you gotta do your job, my friend. You got to corrupt her into being a Bucs fan.
I'm trying. So I have a Mike Evans creamsicle jersey and I have an old Derek Brooks creamsicle jersey. I said, see, look at this. And I put the jersey on her. I said, you look good in creamsicle, especially in the summertime. I'm like, I'm slowly trying to transition her. She actually knows more about the Buccaneers than she does with the Patriots. Like, she hasn't paid attention to the Patriots, but she'll tell you Mike Evans' stats. She'll tell you everything. She'll tell you, like, she knows, like, the Bucs Like she even said, she's like, I know your team better than my team. I'm not gonna lie. So when we go down there to Tampa for that Patriots Buccaneers game, I'm gonna buy her like a T-shirt, a creamsicle shirt with Mike Evans. Like I'm like, hey, it's not a jersey. You're not doing anything wrong. Like I'm trying to like get her to come to the Bucs side.
That's it. You gotta have her come to the dark side, my friend.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta do. And of course, if you do
The
come
right
down
side.
here, yes, the right side, and have her come to the tailgate because we'll be out there live when Bucs season starts. So definitely get you on the evolution. Yes.
Real quick, so I know with Baker, maybe Allen, Jackson, Hurts, Burrow, Mahomes, those 5, you would probably take over Baker. But wouldn't you take Baker over any of these guys? McCarthy, Lawrence, Young, Williams, Murray, Darnold, Richardson, Tyrod Taylor. I'm just reading off projected 2025 starters.
I mean, listen, you look at his numbers, 41 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. He had, some turnovers there with the fumbles. Right. But the thing you love about Baker, and you would like him to prove on, and I think he's improved on that through the last couple of years, live to fight another day, take the sack instead of having the turnover. But what you love about Baker is he's going to try to accomplish that 3rd down. He's going to try to accomplish that 4th down. He's going to put his body out there. He's going to put his shoulder down. He's going to run down there, make the block for Bucky Irving. Those are the things you love, that grittiness, that toughness. And I know, the coach there, Todd Bowles, maybe slide, don't necessarily go head first. Don't put your shoulder down. Don't try to stick the linebacker for Washington. I think it was Wagner who he sticked. You don't want that. But you love that. That's what you love about the team, though. Yes, that's what you love about
because
Baker
that's
Mayfield.
The intangibles.
Yes,
his grit, his drive. Yeah, I mean, but looking at I'm a big stats guy. I know his QBR I think was 13th overall. But if you look at number of points contributed by a quarterback, this is the PAA. He's 8th in the league in number of points contributed by a quarterback. EPA, which is another stat that they use for total expected points by a quarterback. Baker is also number 6th in the league. Okay. And then overall raw numbers, which is basically overall quarterback rating and all types of plays, Baker is 6th in the league. So, I mean, you Bucs fans need to chill the F out. You've got an elite quarterback that's going to take it to the Super Bowl. And I think that, we're going to get all the other pieces we need, whether it's edge rushers and defensive backs and other key players. But Baker Mayfield is underrated. He never is talking the same breath as Mahomes and Allen and Action Jackson, the other guys. So I think he's just
a better year this year than most of those guys.
He did.
Yes, he did. I'm reading off these numbers, and he's just an amazing quarterback. One other thing, remember on Monday you guys talked about revenue generating, how Bowles needs to generate home games, playoff games. Well, they had 2 playoff games in the last 2 years, right? Home players, not games.
Right.
So how much did they make on when they beat the Eagles last year?
Oh yeah,
they did. They absolutely.
And then how much did they make on a playoff game?
I don't know the exact figure, but
I'm just saying.
Yes,
that's another thing you got to factor in. If they're winning the division and they're generating that revenue, I think Bowles gets a pass because they're getting a home playoff game.
Yeah.
And that's another thing you got to factor in. I know you want to win, you want to go to the Super Bowl.
So you don't buy the whole fact, because this was going around on local radio this week, and I'll give credit to where Chris Mathis of WDAE 95.3 620 AM there said, Todd Bowles has to make it to the NFC Championship game, or we're going to have this conversation again where he's on the hot seat. And Webheads, I'm not neglecting you. I'll get back to the comments in a moment, I promise.
Right.
But do you feel that way?
Well, I believe that, there's going to be added pressure, but if you also look at the big picture, NFL is about making money. He's generated 2 home playoff games of tons of revenue. We lost on a double doink and a bad snap, and then the botched little, whatever called that little wing fly stuff. What was it called again? The play to Miller.
I forgot about all that stuff. I relive that stuff.
I'm about to try to think.
We know
I get what you're saying, man.
It isn't like we got blown out. Would you rather have the Justin Herbert game or Jared Goff or those other games with those guys as quarterback? I mean, Mayfield kept us in the game till the end. We should have won that game.
I agree.
So everyone needs to chill the F out, appreciate
what you
Baker
have.
Mayfield, who's going to be the 2026 Super Bowl champion Buccaneers.
All right.
I honestly believe that Baker Mayfield, I mean, as a Bucs fan since '95, He's probably been one of the best quarterbacks the franchise has seen. I mean, outside of Tom Brady.
But
I
yeah,
mean, because here's the thing. To all you Buck fans, and I know the last caller said something about we should be drafting a quarterback in the second or third round, I believe it is. And I respect everybody's opinion. But listen to me. This dude threw for 4,500 passing yards with
Right.
his with Chris Godwin out for the season and Mike
And
Evans
Evans
gone
hurt.
for 3 games, relying on a rookie running back and a rookie wide
Right.
receiver. 4,500 yards and 41 touchdowns. Granted, 16 interceptions, but you know what that shows me? That they're throwing the ball, they're airing the ball out, and that's going to happen when some of your best players are out. To sit here and say that Baker is not that guy, name me somebody better. Because at the end of the day, when it's the fourth quarter, you give me a chance to have any quarterback and to lead a drive in the fourth quarter, I want Baker because at least I know at the end of the day, he's not going to chicken out. He's going to make that plays. And I wasn't a Baker fan at first, and I'll admit to this. I wasn't a Baker fan at first, but when I seen him his first year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I watched week 1 with the Minnesota Vikings, and he stiff-armed, I can't think of his name, and he said, "Get your weight up, little boy." I said, "That's my damn quarterback. That's the dude I want on this team." And ever since then, you've seen a fire, and a lot of people thought the Buccaneers offense was going to fall off. You've seen Mike Evans play out of his mind. You've seen Chris Godwin play out of his mind. You've seen all these guys just feed off that energy. And this is what I'm saying. Who else can come here and do that? Baker Mayfield is a dog. He's our guy. I ride with number 6. I wouldn't want it any other way. He's going to give you 120%. The dude's shoulder gets blown out, and he's still out there trying to win a football game. What more do you want, Buck fans? What more do you want?
The Bucs fans need to chill out. And Bowles and Mayfield, I know they're overcritical, these guys. And
absolutely,
they're going to give you a championship. Just need to chill out, calm down. Get your defensive players, get people healthy, get an edge rusher, get the O-line solid. They're going to be fine. They're going to win the division again this year in the South.
But so, you know what? I don't take offense too much to what these people are saying about Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield, because these are the same people that are selling their tickets to the opposing team. So,
well done. Coming strong to the mic tonight, Louie. Yes, go ahead.
Turnbuckle talk later.
Turnbuckle talk later. Use that second call.
I can't wait for Turnbuckle talk. Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to Turnbuckle talk.
That's right.
All right.
And also, real quick on a side note,
yes,
if an NBA player spoke in English, he told one of the NBA refs to go after their mother. Do you think you had more than a technical foul? Do you think you probably get suspended for that?
Yeah, probably suspended for at least 5 to 7 games.
Right.
Yes.
And Luka's running around. Did you see the video I sent you?
Yes.
He's saying in Serbian, "Go F your mother." Yes. And then he has the nerve to tell her, "Oh, what did I say? What did I say? What did I say?"
Yes.
And if Silver knew that, I mean, if somebody spoke that in English and told the ref that's a 7-game suspension. So another reason. We'll talk about Luka later. But
all right, my friend.
Great job.
Another circus.
Yeah, that is another circus. All right, Sun Devil Dave right there. Let's go out to this guy.
Book him, Dano.
Let's go out to the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former coach, scout, and now media member of Nine Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports. You're on with yours truly, along with Louie from the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Welcome to the Evolution, my friend. How you doing tonight?
Well, I'm really happy, Peter. USF women came through, won the AAC tournament. They're going to the dance. And I'll tell you what, Coach Fernandez, up until this year, they've always been stuck on that 8-9 line where, they got to play the winner and going to play number 1 seed. Mm-hmm. They're going to end up probably 12, 10, 11, 12, or 13. And I'll tell you what, if I'm a 4 or 5, I don't want to play USF because I tell you what, when they're shooting the rock, they're tough to beat.
They are tough to beat, and Jose Fernandez, for so many years as a coach there, has not gotten enough props, in my opinion, and he's had that program going for 10, 15 years, consistently always in contention, right, Leo?
This was his 10th NCAA tournament bid, and I tell you, I asked him, I said, is this the best job of coaching you've ever done? Because there was a lot of ups and downs out there, Sammy Puce is coming off an injury. You have to blend in Mama Diaba, come in there. And he said, I really enjoyed coaching these girls. And he did a fabulous job. He got them ready. because think about it, they lost their last two going into this. And I think they got a little bit lucky that they didn't have to play Tulane because they said it didn't matter in the seedings. So they got that extra time off, and they ended up having to play Tulane anyway in the opener. So that helped out real well. And I thought he made a very astute comment when he said, we wore Coach Amir's initials on our jerseys, and he's probably looking down on us and smiling. And you know what? He still has an effect on those programs out there.
Not lying.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we had a little sign just fall. That sign just keeps on falling there. I got to get that fixed. I fell right online there. I'm listening to everything you said. We're on with the legend himself, Leo Haggerty. We got Leo from the Frozen Pirate Podcast. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. Let's talk football here. Let's stay in the division. In your opinion, have the Atlanta Falcons gotten worse? You lose Grady Jarrett to the Chicago Bears. I get it. They signed Leonard Floyd. But really, what has limited their spending habits, if you will, guys, has been Kirk Cousins. So have the Atlanta Falcons, in my opinion, have they gotten worse? Because I think they have actually gotten worse at this point. What do you say, Leo?
Well, you know what, Peter? It's hard right now to tell who's gotten better and who's gotten worse because let's wait till after the draft and see what happens. Because I guarantee you teams have a plan. They know what they're doing. When Seattle traded Geno Smith, they knew what they were doing because they're going to get Sam Darnold. That was their plan. So again, when you look at Atlanta, their problem wasn't defense. Their problem was figuring out on offense who's going to be the quarterback. And you know what? If Kirk Cousins was hurt, and I truly believe that he was, because when you watch that HBO thing on the quarterbacks, that man takes a beating. He just takes a beating. And you know what? I think Michael Penix is the future. The question is he the present? And that's the big thing they got to decide. Okay, what are we doing with Cousins? What are we doing with Penix? And how are we going to find a way to get into games where it's not 36-33?
Yeah, I mean, that was their biggest problem last year, Louie. I mean, you talk about this Atlanta Falcons team. Do you think they've gotten worse? Because in my estimation, I think they have. You lose your defensive tackle and Grady Jarrett. I get it. You get Leonard Floyd, but he's turning 33, had 8.5 sacks. And I want to throw this out there, guys. I think the contract of Hassan Reddick being a younger, even though Floyd's getting $10 million, I think it's a better contract at this point than what Atlanta signed to Leonard Floyd. So, Louie, in your opinion, have the Atlanta Falcons gotten worse in the NFC South?
I'm going to have to agree with Leo because it's very tough to tell, especially right now because, you have guys departing, you have new guys coming in. The draft is when you start to get an idea of what teams are trying to do and what they're building. I'm not going to count the Atlanta Falcons out. They did lose a couple of key players. But Michael Penix Jr., I do think that's the guy moving forward for them. They have a very good young offense, in my opinion. With Drake London, a lot of people don't talk about him enough. I don't think so. I think this kid's very good. He's very phenomenal. You have Bijan Robinson. Kyle Pitts needs to figure it out a little bit. They need to do something with him. But in my opinion, did they get better? Did they get worse? Again, it's tough to tell. I mean, yeah, they lost a couple pieces, but I'm gonna have to agree with Leo. It's tough to tell because you don't know what these guys are doing. And for all we know, they could make a major trade and get one of these top guys in the draft. You know what I'm saying? I believe they're picking in the top 15 or top 17th overall pick they got, something like that. Who knows? Yeah. They could trade down and go get one of these key guys, one of the best guys. So we don't know. And we've seen this. All it takes is one guy to cause a spark for a team, and that guy for the Commanders was Jaden Daniels. So,
Penix definitely had some flashes of brilliance last year, and I think he'll get better when they put more pieces around him, namely an offense.
What you like, and I say this religiously, in order to win a division, you have to build your team to beat your division. So, I mean, and we've seen the NFC South. Like last year, it was a neck-to-neck race. Do I think the Buccaneers were better? Absolutely. Do I think the Buccaneers are better than the Falcons now? After free agency? Absolutely. But they still put up 2 wins on us, and that almost cost us big time. But we'll see after the draft, and there's still a lot of time where, free agent. I mean, I call it the real second wave of free agency after the draft, going into training camp. Guys are getting cut. We've seen this, so there's still a lot of time left, and we're not the only ones that are printing our own money apparently. So the salary cap is kind of like non-existent at some point.
Well, it's a joke. It's like the national deficit here. Leo and Louie, the 2 L's here on the Evolution. Let's go out to this guy.
Acknowledge me.
Let's go out to Roger Shue on the phone. Welcome to the Evolution.
Peter, good evening.
What's
Great
up,
show
man?
so far.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
All
Where?
right.
Where? Somebody come on?
Oh, yeah. Roger Shue's on. Yes, Roger. You can't hear. We got to get you some headphones there, Leo.
No, I thought he said
All
a gentleman. I was looking for the gentleman.
Oh, yeah. It's
Hey, you know what? Before Roger, before you jump on, I want to talk about what Louie just said, and it is so prolific. You've got to figure out how to win your division. Then you got to figure out how to beat the Rams. You got to figure out how to beat the Lions and how to beat the Eagles. Forget about how do we get to the Super Bowl. You got to figure out how to win your division and then win your conference. And you know what? You gotta keep an eye on what Howie Roseman is doing up in Philly. He's losing guys, but he's adding pieces. And the bottom line is he still's got that massive offensive line up there.
Well,
if they lose Becton, then it gets interesting. But I'll tell you what, I don't think they are. So, hey, Roger, go ahead. I'm sorry to jump in there.
No, that's okay.
That's
Roger,
fine,
go
Mr.
ahead,
Haggerty.
my friend.
No problem. All right. Well, Peter, tonight I am not calling in as the tribal troll.
Okay. What do you?
Okay, I'm calling in as the wise man.
Okay, you're calling in as a wise man. All right. So you're
This
Paul
is
Heyman
not-
tonight.
This is not a prediction.
Okay.
It's a spoiler.
Okay.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year will win the NFC South.
Okay.
And that's as far as they go again.
You see, we've been talking about this. This is Roger being a hater as always. There was a report or there was a comment this week on local radio here, Leo, that if Todd Bowles doesn't get to the NFC Championship game, then once again he should be on the hot seat. How do you feel about that comment?
That's a myth. And again, what Todd Bowles has to do, if he wins the South, he gets another home game. You know what that means, fellas? Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Money.
Yeah, exactly. Look what happened last year to the Washington Commanders. Hey, great job by the Commanders, but you know what? They won in Tampa. They won in Detroit. Guess how much money they made? Zero, niet, nada. The Eagles had 2 home games. Guess what? They clocked in between $100 and $200 million. The Glazers, by having that home game, anywhere from $75 to $125 million. That's windfall. You're not going to fire a coach that gets you a home game. You're going to fire a coach if he gets to the playoffs and doesn't get a home game and loses. Todd Bowles, he gets there and wins a game. That's what he's got to do. Now, he may have to win one next year, but as long as he's getting a home game, he's got a 50-50 shot.
Let me guess. Your prediction is also accompanied by the expectations of the Bears once again making the playoffs and winning the Super Bowl.
I'm not saying that at all.
Okay.
My thing is, I agree with local reports that Bowles has to make a deep run into the playoffs, or he should be on the hot seat. This is what, year number 5 now that he'll be in the NFC South, and that's it. Wouldn't you get more of a windfall and more cha-ching by winning a Super Bowl than just having a home game?
That's it.
Not if you got to play 3 away games.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And Washington will be a team to look out for. Ken Law, they pick him up from San Francisco. That's an interesting move. Laramie Tunzel, and of course Deebo Samuel. What else, Roger?
That's it, man. I'm thinking again, this is just going to be the Bucs winning the NFC South. That's as far as they go because Bulls, I don't think can get him over the hump.
All right.
I just don't. He hasn't shown me so far that he can.
Well, I don't necessarily think it's just Todd Bowles. It's this team overall. If they can stay healthy, knock on wood, with this offense being as explosive
every
as
team
it
has
was.
injuries, Peter. You know that.
Well, but if
but here's the thing. It goes back to this, and I'm going to keep saying it. Not many teams can recover from the injuries the Buccaneers had when both your starting wide receivers go down like that. And for a quarterback to put up the numbers that he put up was huge. Another thing I want to say, Todd Bowles didn't fumble the football in that playoff game. You know what I'm saying, Todd? Like a lot of that stuff that comes down. We lost that game because we made two rookie mistakes. Graham Barton with the false start and Jalen McMillan. I mean, I know Baker Mayfield took the blame for that, but McMillan fumbled the football. And that could have been a different game.
I agree.
You can't blame Todd Bowles.
Bowles isn't on the field.
Yeah.
Bowles not on the field.
He is calling plays. I get that. But at the same time, these guys are the ones that are trying to execute out there. And to what Leo said, it's all about the mighty dollar. You know who made a lot of money on playoff games? The New England Patriots.
Yes. Well,
absolutely.
By the way, guys, we have our new guy here coming to the Mike Strong here, Mr. Louie of the Frozen Pirate Podcast. He's coming to the Mike Strong tonight. He's killing it. He's calling you guys out there. Tribal Troll, appreciate the call as always, my friend. Use that second one.
Thank you, guys. You have a great night. It's been an awesome show. I'll keep watching.
All right, Turnbuckle Talk coming up. Better call back in. All right, open phone line, 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. Mr. Leo Haggerty, we did get some breaking news here about 30 to 45 minutes ago, according to Jenna Lane of ESPN. The Bucs have re-signed Kyle Trask to a 1-year deal. Are you surprised by this?
No, not at all, because he serves a purpose, guys. That's all you want. You want a backup who's going to be there, who's not. I don't want competition at quarterback. That's just me. I want competition at 21 other positions. At quarterback, I want a guy going in. This is my guy. And that's what the Bucs have right now. They've got their guy. And that's huge. Because when you look at what's going on in the National Football League, you've got teams that are above the Bucs. The Lions lose 2 coordinators. The Rams are shakily moving pieces in and out. I mean, where's Cooper Kupp going to end up? That's what's going to be really interesting to me.
Officially Kupp, by the way. I think he ends up with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
God, I hope so, because I don't want to see him in Atlanta.
Well, they don't want to see him in Atlanta, but there's certainly a possibility of that. Could you see him in Atlanta with the former quarterback coach, I believe, right now?
Yep.
I did not think about that, and Raheem Morris. So that I think Kupp lost a step here. Go ahead, Louie.
I'm not going to predict it because I will say I wouldn't be surprised if the Kansas City Chiefs don't make a run at Kupp. They just freed up some cap room today, by the way.
Wow.
A lot of it. $44 million.
I mean, that's really what you need at this point is Cooper Kupp. Although, again, ever since he's been able to sign that big-time contract, he has not looked like the same player. And then on top of it, he's had lingering injuries, which, again, you know, the Bucs are very fortunate. I know Mike Evans missed 3 games, but he hasn't lost a step, in my opinion. Chris Godwin, again, he's had injuries, but when he's been able to stay healthy, he's been top of the game there. Hold on a sec here. Let's, I guess he's going to call in for Turnbuckle Talk. I don't know. This is his second call. The Hill Mark from Wisconsin, Mr. Frankie, using your second call. Welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, and, of course, Louie from the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Go.
I know I wanted to call in on Turnbuckle Talk, but the way you guys were talking about, I had to jump in.
All right, we'll give you another call for Turnbuckle Talk. How about that? All right.
All right. So
get a bonus call.
Get a bonus call.
Everything that's going on with the Cooper Kupp.
Yes.
Cooper Kupp, from everything I'm hearing, if there's talks, he's going to Minnesota.
Wow.
It's a good possibility.
Cooper Kupp, could you imagine Cooper Kupp and Jefferson as a wide receiving duo? And then you also have the kid from
Jordan Addison.
Yeah, from Pittsburgh via USC. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is Cooper Kupp gets to play indoors. I mean, that's a big thing if you're a wide receiver. You know, going to Atlanta, you're in a dome. You go to Kansas City. I'll tell you what, that's a tough place to play, elements-wise. It gets cold, it gets wet, it gets ugly. If I'm Cooper Kupp, I'm going someplace indoors.
Telling Arrowhead.
Well, that's a good point. It's definitely a good point there. You go to Arrowhead, it's definitely tough to play in, but it would probably be their number one position at this point, getting a number one wide receiver for Patrick Mahomes. And let's face it, he hasn't had one of those. And then on top of it, Kelsey looks like he's lost about 2 steps, not just 1 step, 2 steps behind there, Taylor Swift. That's a whole different story. He does not look good, does not look like the same player, whether it's injury or
miserable.
Yes, he looks miserable.
You know what, guys? And Peter, we sat there when Ron Jaworski preached to us that the biggest fear a quarterback has is color in his face, because now he's got to look at the rush and not downfield.
Right.
If you look at all the interceptions he had in that game against the Eagles, he's looking at the rush, or he's trying to scramble away from the rush. He's not focused downfield. That's the key. The NFL is a copycat league. Watch what everybody does. The Eagles manhandled Kansas City. Why did they do it? They had a pass rush. Look for all these guys to start boning up and putting in guys who can really rush the passer.
Yeah, it's absolutely correct. All right, what else, Frankie?
Last thing I'm going to say before turnbuckle talk, what a lot of people don't realize, and I know a lot of people, especially you, Peter, roll your eyes when I talk about this guy. Bucky Irving he's the man. He did not start.
I'm not rolling my eyes on it. I know where you're going. I know you're the biggest Bucky Irving fan. You were from the very beginning. You told us all here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Frankie from Wisconsin said Bucky Irving is the man. I know you're a number one fan of him, man. We appreciate it. We definitely know. And
I said he was going to be the starting running back before the season was over, and he was.
You did.
Hey, Frankie, where in Wisconsin are you at now?
I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, unfortunately.
Oh, you and the Bruiser and the Crusher. We grab a case of beer. We run up to Waukesha. Yeah, I've been there.
Now, let me tell you something. I live in Wisconsin. I'm a Buccaneer fan. And I can't stand the freaking Packers. They look at me so weird up here.
Well,
oh, God, you're lucky you're still alive, because there's all that green and gold underwear running around up in the cheeseheads.
In Wisconsin, it's a state law that you should root for the Green Bay Packers. That's why I have 87 felonies.
Oh,
that's tough, man. Hey, man, I'm a Buccaneers fan. I'm a Bucs fan that lives in Massachusetts, and a lot of people are like, why aren't you a Patriots fan? No, like I'm not. It's not a Patriots fan, and believe me, it's tough. You know, you've seen the hometown team winning all these championships.
I've been a Bucs fan for 36 years, man, since I was 10 years old.
I've been alive. 8 years old, and 1988. There, it's their 50th anniversary, fellas. 50 years. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their 50th year. It's amazing to me. It's flown by.
Yeah, just think, I was 22 when the Bucs came in.
Oh, man. I wasn't born.
Me neither. Different times.
Yeah, it's terrible. Hey, Peter, I'm going to jump off so you guys can do turnbuckle talk, but I got one question before you go to turnbuckle talk.
Thank you. We'll let you go, man. Appreciate you.
Who is the greatest professional football player that was also a wrestler? I'm going to throw out Ernie Ladd.
Ernie Ladd, okay. Professional football player.
Ron Simmons was pretty good too.
I was just about to say that. Ron Simmons, he was pretty good.
Simmons is pretty good.
If you're gonna go off popularity, I mean, obviously you got Bill Goldberg.
The Rock didn't play. Played Canadian. Didn't play NFL. Played college.
Yep, Ernie the Big Cat Ladd. Look that up. Maybe somebody will know that on Turnbuckle Talk. But gentlemen, I will.
Hold on, Leo. Before you go, I have to ask you, since you were there in the beginning for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, outside of the popular names, the Mike Evans, the Leroy Selmans, out of the whole history of the Buccaneers, who are some guys that you think are very underrated that are not talked about enough, that don't they do the jersey sales, for Brooks and Sapp with the creamsicle jerseys. Who are some guys from that era that you think that don't really get talked about enough that really contributed to the Buccaneers?
Two of them come to mind right away: Richard Batman Wood and Paul Gruber.
Paul Gruber.
They were fabulous on a bad team. I mean, Gruber was the top of the line as a tackle, and Richard Batman Wood is the only 3-time All-American at USC. Now that's saying something with the talent they had. But I'll tell you what, those two guys, I tell you, they don't get enough credit. And I'd really like to see where they're going with the Ring of Honor in the next couple of years. That should be now they're talking about putting Gruden back in. That's a topic for a whole nother show.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
But I would like to see them go back and look at some of those guys from the early days that were really like Scott Brantley could play, guys. Oh man.
Yes.
He could play.
Yep. Doug Williams, another guy that gets mentioned, doesn't get mentioned enough. I'll give you a real quick story here, and then we'll get you out of here, Leo. Used to wear a Bucs creamsicle jacket. I don't know if you know this story or not. In 7th grade in Bayonet Point Middle School there in Newport Richie, people hated it because the Bucs used to lose all the time. I didn't care. I used to wear the jacket. Somebody actually took a lighter and burned a hole in the jacket. I didn't have it on. They took it, burned a hole in it, wore it, and to immortalize that jacket, got Paul Gruber to sign it. I still have that jacket with the burnt hole in it. Creamsicle Bucko Bruce jacket signed by Paul Gruber. There you go.
Guys, the last thing, the one guy who doesn't get a whole lot of credit is Sam Weich. Sam Weich drafted Warren Sapp. And I don't know if anybody else, I don't think Tony Dungy would have, because I walked by that draft board when Randy Moss was draftable. That name wasn't up on the board. And
Dungy says before he got hired on NFL Films that they were looking at Sapp. They wanted Sapp at the time, and of course they take Derek Alexander from Florida State. But of course Dennis Green is the coach there, not Tony Dungy. But Dungy actually says he wanted Sapp. He wanted Sapp. So
yeah, Sapp was a freak of nature when it comes to getting Sapp. Hey, guys, I don't want to cut into turnbuckle talk. Have a great evening. Take care, guys.
All right.
Don't be a stranger.
Yes.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I appreciate it, man.
He's the newest part of the evolution of sports talk television. It's what we do here. We find JC Allen. Now we got Louie from the Frozen Pirate Podcast. All right. Good stuff there from Leo. Let's read these comments, and then we'll get out to turnbuckle talk. Might be a little bit late, Ralph, so be patient, my friend. We will have it. I don't care if we have to go 3 hours. We will. We'll try to keep it down to because the roommates might be sleeping. So I'll go into my quiet voice, if you will. I'll try to.
I'll do the yelling for you. So I have a pretty big garage down here, and it's heated, so it's like a garage, a gym, and then I have my workbench down there. I can fit my Escalade in here, perfect, and still have room. So nobody can hear me. Nobody can hear me.
It was funny. One of my roommates, his name is Steve. He said the next stop is from this room because I used to be out in the living room. They were trying to watch TV, so they had no idea that I was so loud. They're like, "We can't have you out in the living room, so we're going to put you in the room." And they said the next stop is in the garage. And I said, "Is it cool? Or you leave me alone if you put me in the garage? But we're good here. We'll stay here." Goodness gracious, I can't even get to the comments. Let's go out to the phone lines. What's your name? Where you calling from? You're on the Evolution.
Eric from Sarasota.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good. I think the Bucs should get Cooper Kupp and get rid of Chris Godwin.
What?
Come on, man.
Come on, man. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Why do you think they should get rid of Chris Godwin and go? That's not going to happen, by the way. But why do you want Cooper Kupp over Chris Godwin?
He keeps getting injured.
Well, he got injured last year, a freak injury against the Saints. It was a dirty injury, but he's a lot more healthier than Cooper Kupp is ever since Kupp signed that big time contract. You do know that, right?
Yeah.
And also Kupp is older than Chris Godwin. All right, Eric, you're killing me here, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate the call. I think he was joking around with me. I don't know what that was. Appreciate the call. Use the second call if you want to. You had to give me more than that, man. You're going to call the show, give me dead hair, and then say something, nonsensical and get rid of Chris Godwin for Cooper Kupp. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
I don't understand that. I mean, I'm not going to use my soundbite.
Yeah, don't do that. We don't want to curse here, but we could. However, you can't throw a bunch of money on free agents and expect to win instantly. Logan says one good cornerback were a contender, Christopher Cole. Godwin turned down 4-year deal worth $88 million, so that's where they get the extra $20 million. Correct, Christopher? Thank you for that. Yeah. Joy says we make buck necklaces and bracelets. We are at Special Olympics. We'll have to get together, have to get you on here to promote that, Joy. Appreciate you tuning in to the Evolution. Cole, CSB brother right there. That comment by Chris about his jersey is amazing. I love this team, these players. They are all pillars of this community. Enjoy it, Bucs fans, because as you know, Peter, it hasn't always been this way. That's definitely the comment of the night. I love how people go, well, you just won the NFC South. Oh, you just won the division? Do you know how many years the Bucs
5 years in a row? That's not nothing. That doesn't count for nothing. Look, I'll say this. I'll say this real quickly because I know we need to get to the comments. But I will say this: when Brady got here, losing was no longer acceptable. The culture changed, and I still to this day I still hear Jameis was still the guy. He should have been our no, absolutely not, absolutely not. And there's still people who the local radio station says it best. I believe it's T-Crass. He says the Florida State Robots. No, Jameis is not the guy. Brady came in here, changed the culture. He'd still be eating W's, man, if he was here. He changed the culture, and a lot of people like outside of like the Bucs fan base, people out here, they're like, "Oh, you think Tom Brady should be in the Buccaneers Ring of Honor?" Not right now. Maybe in a couple of years, because you're gonna see the seeds that he's planted for good for this organization. Because this franchise was not a very good franchise for a long time. We just couldn't win. And he came here. The equipment guys got better. The guys who set up the fields got better. The cleaning crews got better. Everybody got better. It was the Brady effect. And I'm just saying, like, people need to relax, calm down. Because I'm on the sports web now. I'm going to start checking people. I got receipts.
Yeah, we got receipts like Jason Light here. We're definitely going to check you, but we do want you to bring the passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I won't scream it like I usually do because I want to wake my neighbors up and have my dog bark at me, which he does sometimes, which I don't understand. Alex, go lay down. Evans and Godwin get 1,000 yards each. They'll be second all-time duos in yards. Great stuff, Christopher Cole. 20 million sounds great. If not guaranteed, it's not 20 million. Mike DeRoche, still $20 million he turned down the table. But thanks a lot for the comment, Donald. Appreciate you. Mike DeRoche from Canada. Hey, Peter and Louie, Christopher Cole, LBD, Dennis, and Deion Jones plus draft one will be your first 4 inside linebackers. Makes lots of sense. Let's go out to Jamie here. Trade White and a 4th to the Dolphins for Ramsey. I still don't buy the fact that they're going to trade White. And Ramsey is up there in age. He's not even that great either.
That contrast is atrocious, too.
Yeah,
why would you even want to take that cap hit?
It's an albatross. Yeah, Jamie, come on. We're not playing Madden here, but I guess good comment. Is there any more bucks for Tampa to get more guys? Definitely can restructure some contracts, move some money around. We'll see what Jason Light and this team will do here in the next couple weeks. As Junior 5'10", not happening, says Donald. Is he high? I think you were talking about Frankie before. Jamie says Haggerty is a dog at right tackle. That he is. Good comment there. By Donald says it's cold in Wisconsin. It's affecting his judgment. Oh, that's pretty funny, actually. I'll give you that. Let's see. I take Becton over Mock. Flacco threw 5 picks. Laugh out loud. Mike DeRoche. Patriots, Texans, go F yourself to Godwin. Evans, Godwin have a legitimate shot of all-time duo for NFL most yards. Absolutely. They Mike D. Roche, thank you for the encouraging words. Means a lot to me. Hang in there, my friend. We love you. Dave says when Riddick played with the Cardinals, he played as an inside linebacker, wasn't good, but when they put him outside as a pass rusher, he took off. That's why the Eagles took him, but then they didn't want to pay him, so they traded him to the Jets. The Jets didn't give him a raise, so he sat, and it hurt him. He's going to ball out this season for a contract. Good comment there.
Yes!
Let's go out to Christopher Cole. Cam Jordan is returning to the Saints. Laugh out loud. Shocker there. Should the Bucs bring back Shepard? I'm 50-50 on it. Shepard to the Bucs, or keep him as a Bucs wide receiver. Did okay. Inconsistent.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Maybe you can find somebody in the draft.
Yeah. I mean, again, the second wave of free agency, like I like to call it after the draft. I mean, depth purposes.
Yeah.
We need to find somebody who can return kicks. That's our big thing.
Be nice to find that. Finally, read the comments. We are Roger Shoe. Appreciate you.
Acknowledge me.
Nelson should have started over JTS. Agree with you on that, Dave. Some Bucs fans need to go watch the tape of Riddick, not from the Jets, but for obvious reasons. Laugh out loud. Christopher Cole. Looks like the Jaguars are rebuilding first and going to build it back up in a few years, but will Cohen and company have a chance to finish it all the way? I don't think he's going to.
They need a lot of work. They really do. They need a lot of work there.
Yep. Dave says more riverboat as my picture goes down right there. As you can see, it's amazing. That picture is cursed at this point. That wall hates that Tropicana field. So you can see a shadow in the background. Yeah, it's an omen. Yeah. More riverboat Todd. Christopher Cole Trask just re-signed. We got you. Timmy, thanks a lot. I think that's stars.
Oh, yeah.
Timmy, again, what do you guys think is going to happen with Kyle Trask at number 2? He's going to be the backup quarterback. He's going to get another opportunity.
Yep.
Baker is the best player on the Bucs. Dave, some fans have to quit with the Jason Light bad-mouthing his top 5 GM in football. We are lucky to have him. Byron says, hang the phone up on the dude. He's sounding crazy. We got to do that. Ender Blue. Cheap viewers, okay? We're not looking for that. Nice job. Thank you, Timmy. Hang up on this guy. We did. We like to give them a little bit of
benefit of the doubt.
A little leash there, if you will. Jason Light brought Evans, Godwin, Vita, Wirfs, Winfield. And then he got Sue, Shaq, JPP, Fournette, Gronk. The list goes on. So stop with the bashing. Absolutely. As I'm sorry about the shadow there. That's my head. As you can see, we'll put the sign back up here. Louie will have to take control of the show here in just a little bit. The O-line is locked in now. What's the guy talking about? Exactly. Christopher Cole. There's no way they draft a quarterback OL. Dave, the Bucs have top 5 O-line now. Christopher Cole, they like Michael Pratt. They do. The Greek put on waivers. Ha, ha, ha. No, Greek is out tonight. I'll be back on Monday night. Well, Peter, you finally got your draft pick. Mac Jones is signed with the 49ers. Yes, years later. Eric, I don't know if this is Eric who just called. We're only going to go up and up. So we win the division again because we just got the edge. Walker from the Eagles. We just need more key. I think it's Hassan Reddick you're talking about. Get the quarterback, get turnover. I don't know what that is, Eric. I can't read that. We could use Cooper Kupp. This is him. Trade Chris Godwin because that would be better. They're not going to trade Chris Godwin. Come on, Eric. Kansas City Chiefs. Hi, guys from Tasmania there in Australia. Appreciate you. I'm Bucs and Kansas City Chiefs fan. That's a weird combination. We saw all kinds of Mongo.
Yeah,
there you go. Steve Mongo McMichael. There's one. Anybody remember Chucky as a coach? Yes. Steve Michael, McMichael, the Bears. I can't even talk. Chucky, the coach, my favorite Bucs coach. Sandra Nagel, my mother, right there, watching the best sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area. The Sports Web with Amped Up Sports. Absolutely. The 2002 Bucs, my favorite Bucs team. I love Chucky as a coach, was my favorite coach. Sap, my favorite player in Chucky, 2002. Yes, thank you. Let them know he will. Hi, guys. Again from Tasmania. Appreciate you. And David says, I heard this morning that if Chris and Mike both get 1,000 yards this year, they'll be number 2 duo of all time with yards. That's amazing stuff there. I'm going to go out to Ralph Williams. And I'm going to try to put this sign up so I don't look like an idiot here with the shadow in the background. Mr. Ralph Williams, bodyguard of the Berg. What's going on, boss? How you doing? Welcome to Turnbuckle Talk. It looks like it's going to be It's going to be Seth Rollins versus CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. Welcome to the Evolution.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like right now, and I like what I see here with this. I have a former wrestler who was once a football player, Baron Corbin, played for the Jets.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, and Lex Luger also played football too. So
forgot all about that. Baron Corbin. He played with the Cards too, right?
I believe he did. Yes.
Yeah.
And he banked his money. He was involved in that concussion lawsuit, and he came out with some money because he had a concussion. So.
Somebody else was talking about the concussion lawsuits on how that worked. I believe I heard something about that. They couldn't get it because they do a show and they seem to be talking perfectly fine, so they weren't eligible for it. I forgot who it was, but if I remember, I will bring it back up.
So there it is. It's up again. Let's see how long.
No point intended.
As it's
triple threat match here, Peter and Louie. I think it's going to happen. It's going to be a very interesting, WrestleMania. We're going to find out what happens here, with this. But it's crazy. Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns. And when I saw Roman stare at Paul Heyman. And do what he did to CM Punk. Oh my, here we go.
Well, here we go, and this has been talked about, guys. And again, take my money on this because everybody wants to see eventually Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. But is there a chance here, Louie, that you would do a three-way, and whoever wins that, namely CM Punk, that he would be included in a three-way with Cody Rhodes versus John Cena? Is that a possibility where you kind of do the Daniel Bryan all over again?
Yeah, I'd like to see them definitely spice that up, man, because I definitely do see a possibility with that. I think that would really bring, like you said, take my money, because that would just be insane. Who would win that? Who would win that? Who would go on with that? I mean, it's the way they're shaping up this WrestleMania card. Like, there's so many seeds that they're planting. We don't even know, and it's great to be a professional wrestling fan again. And just to see everything transpire, Heyman in the ring with CM Punk consulting him, like, are you all right? And then Roman seeing that and just losing his mind, and let's not forget about the favor that he owes Punk. So there's so much that's in play here. And what I'm interested in is that triple threat match. If it is a triple threat match, do you add a stipulation to that match as far as like maybe a steel cage match, a Hell in a Cell, or just a street fight? Like what type of stipulation, or is it just going to be a traditional triple threat? That's what I'd like to know.
Last man standing, Ralph. I mean, that three-way match, could they do something along the lines of the Daniel Bryan storyline, where I believe he had to face at the time, what was it? Was it Triple H and Batista?
Triple H,
yeah, Randy Orton,
and Batista.
But he had to defeat Triple H in order to get into that three-way, and he won the three-way and then won the championship. Is that something you could see them doing with CM Punk? So finally this storyline up, because it was finished the story with Cody Rhodes last year, and I feel like the storyline, even though a lot of people say, well, it's John Cena winning 17, is that what it is? Or is it CM Punk headlining WrestleMania finally and winning the title? And then, guys, you set up CM Punk versus Roman Reigns, where eventually you would see a Paul Heyman turn on a Roman Reigns, the wise man, for CM Punk.
Yeah, I could see that. And then I'll tell you what else I could see, too. I could see Cody Rhodes losing his belt to John Cena, and then SummerSlam getting it back. That's the rumor I'm hearing. But you forgot about the wild card. And the wild card is the Money in the Bank winner. Okay? You have to watch that. Because what happens is if you don't watch the Money in the Bank winner, you could get burned on this, okay? Because the Money in the Bank winner could turn it in any time and win the title. So
I thought that was Drew. Wasn't that Drew who turned it in?
I'm talking about for this year. It could be whoever the wild card is in the Money in the Bank. Okay.
Rob, the shot looks good, by the way. The camera, the new camera shot, it looks good, bro.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I have a new computer, and a friend of mine came over and put my new studio together. So thank you.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Good stuff, man. Everybody's looking good here on Turnbuckle. Not better shot, my friend. All right, let's go out to Mike
I
D.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Non-sanctioned in a cell, three-way hell in the cell, three-way hell in the cell. I love that. Mike D. As you missed Vince McMahon, you missed the Vince McMahon roar there. Where's my Vince McMahon comment? I don't know where his. Oh, here it is.
Screw you! You're fired!
Hell in the
That
cell.
never gets old.
Boy, that's a classic right there, man. You're fired.
You're fired. Can someone tell me what CM Punk means in CM Punk? I thought it was Chicago man.
That's what I thought. Chicago made or something like that.
Chicago made, Chicago man.
I've heard chick magnet, punk. I don't know. There's so many things that I've heard. What,
Especially
CM
with
stands
them
for.
who he's been hanging out with lately. You see that, right? Wow.
Oh yeah.
And then Becky chiming in. What was it? Cora Jade. What,
Yeah,
saying,
'cause-
yeah. TLC match. Do they do that anymore? Can
I
we
don't
see a
know.
TLC
They
match?
don't even do the pay-per-view anymore that I remember.
I want a TLC match too. I think it's a classic, guys. TLC match with
No, the best one's a steel cage. That's the best match right there.
Hell in the Cell. That's for you. Hell in the
Yeah.
Cell match. Okay.
I like the Hell in a Cell. I do, but I think from what we saw on Monday night, that steel cage match, that was probably an all-time. Like normally, like I would just fall asleep and then I'd watch it the next day. But I was up, man, watching every single second of that, and that was probably one of the best steel cage matches I've ever seen in my life. Top 10.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
it
top
was.
5.
Yeah, it was
Classic.
top rated there, Louie. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100.
Classic.
Match. All right. We're going to go out to the Hill.
I'm going June 30th. Raw's in Pittsburgh, June 30th. I'll be there.
Going again. You know, Raw, all the events. Saturday night main event is coming to Tampa in May. Let's go out to the Hill
I
Mark.
should fly down for that.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Frankie, what's going on? What's on your mind? Welcome to Turnbuckle Talk.
Hey.
Hey, hey,
Frankie.
Just to let you know, the debut episode of the Circle
It's an
Society
omen, man. I'm telling you. With everything
my.
going on with the Rays, it's an omen.
podcast, the Squared Circle Society, March 22nd, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, wrestling talk, man. I was supposed to call you last week, but I had an MS flare-up, so I want to talk base real quick on what I was supposed to talk to you about last week. The John Cena heel turn is the biggest and best heel turn there has been in the history of wrestling.
Since Hulk Hogan.
Let me explain. Because the Hulk Hogan heel turn, yes, it was big. Yes, it was impactful. At the time, that was the biggest thing in wrestling history. Now, the John Cena heel turn is even bigger. Why is this even bigger? Because John Cena is the #1 requested Make-A-Wish Foundation person. He grants wishes to sick and dying kids.
So
then,
there it goes.
on top of that,
It's not going to stay, guys. I'm
I
I'm
just
gonna
leave it, man.
I'm just going to
He
leave
has
it.
been
I'm
baby-
sorry, man.
Yeah.
he has been a baby face for 7,783 days.
Yes.
That is a Guinness Book of World Records. You can look it up.
So-
Honestly, and you know, me and my friends were curious. Who's the longest running heel? You know what I mean? If John Cena was the longest running babyface at 7,783 days, who's the longest running heel?
Who is the longest running heel, guys?
I would say
That's
like
good.
the Miz
I think
because nobody
Roman
liked
Reigns
him.
got to be in there.
Well,
Hulk
Miz-
Hogan.
No,
Miz-
honestly, I
face.
think it would be something like the Iron Sheik.
Iron Sheik.
Like
Okay.
you got to go back.
I don't know, man, because like I said, nobody's ever liked the Miz. Even when
Here's
they try to turn him.
Hey,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
the Miz.
Here's one, guys.
I've always been a Miz fan.
Hold on, Frankie. Here's one 60-40 BRNSN. The Four Horsemen and Lex Luger turn on Sting was also epic. And then eventually they turn on Lex Luger too? I mean, the Horsemen
Yes.
turned on everybody.
Yeah,
Everybody.
they turned on a lot of people.
Turn on everybody.
Let's see here. Mike D. Roche, I'm really getting bored of Tiffy time. I'm feeling the same way. I don't know. I get it.
No.
He's not ready. Not ready, man.
Charlotte Flair's
the
taking
problem
it.
with Tiffany Stratton is extremely talented. The problem is they're not booking her well enough. They are not supporting her title run at all. So honestly, like if she loses the title at Mania, I wouldn't be surprised. However, if they do something ballsy and have her beat Charlotte, I know a lot of people will be pissed off. This person right here, me, myself, I'll be happy as hell because I'm not a big Charlotte fan.
Well,
I'm
there's
really
a lot of
not.
people.
I like what he's saying. I like he's onto something. I get what he's saying. The way they book her is not very well. If it's me, I would have her basically cheat in that match against Charlotte because in all reality, she's the underdog going in as the champion to WrestleMania against Charlotte. So why not have her, resort to some dirty tactics and have her be a heel?
Tiffy is a better heel.
Yes, absolutely.
She is a better heel. Now, is Charlotte a heel? Yes, Charlotte is heel. But have Tiffy pull another heel thing and get a dirty win.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that with when Vince was running WWE.
Yeah.
Let's say that Vince was running WWE right now.
That would be good. That would not be good, my friend.
And Tiffy was having a trouble time to run. Well, we're gonna give it to Charlotte. See you, Tiffy, and Tiffy would be gone.
Correct.
Triple H is running shit right now. Sorry for the language.
It's all right.
You got Papa H running everything.
Yes.
The things are gonna be different. He's gonna throw stuff in there that'll make you gonna go, huh? I mean, Cena turned heel.
Yeah. Well,
come on, guys.
Well, and listen, Vince would have never turned Cena heel, and they talked about it, and it never happened. I still think Hogan's heel turn is probably one of the
and Roman Reigns too. He was a heel for a while.
Seth Rollins' heel turn was pretty epic too.
Well, Seth Rollins,
it was pretty big, but I kind of sensed it coming because they kind of teased you a little bit because of the fracture in the Shield, which was probably one of the best factions I've seen in a while. But we were all warned about this John Cena stuff.
Well,
Bray Wyatt, you remember?
That's true.
When Rollins hit Reigns with the chair, and you seen Moxley / Ambrose give that look, it's the look of, hey, I thought I was supposed to get the heel turn.
Well, it
seriously,
was
go back, replay it, watch.
It was a
Moxley
shock.
gives you the look of, I thought I was supposed to get the heel turn.
Moxley does some really weird.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, they did it the right way because Moxley is shown. I like him in AEW, but he's just not. He's not everything is advertised. It's not working. That Death Riders thing to be killed off. It's not good.
Well, the reason why the Death Riders isn't working is we don't know why. There is no why.
Well, there's never
there's no structure in AEW. Everything is completely meaningless.
Why are you
all AEW does, Frankie, is wrestle. They don't have any creativity. They don't have any storylines. You don't see any of
that last pay-per-view they did.
I don't watch AEW as much as I used to. Granted, there's wrestlers I like to watch. Like, dude, Speedball just debuted today.
Yeah,
I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
what that
watched
is.
his match because I was like, dude, it's freaking Speedball.
Yeah,
I
feel like we should be doing an 8-ball. If I don't know,
I'm not a fan of AEW, especially like they had Tony Storm, who I like. Tony Storm, I think what she does over there is really good. But that last match that they had with the glass and the slash. That I don't like that. I'm so turned off by that and stuff like that with AEW. I get they're trying to get the viewership. You're not going to get viewership
I'm
like
getting
that.
Tired, Louie, I'm getting tired of the tournaments. I'm getting sick of that.
Everything's meaningless.
And then they break it up into like 3 different brackets: the gold bracket, the orange bracket, the red bracket, that kind of thing. I'm tired of it.
We got a turquoise bracket. We got a gold bracket. We got a blue bracket.
In the early stages of AEW.
Have you ever seen the movie Basketball?
Oh, yeah.
it's beginning to sound like the brackets in the AEW are beginning to sound like the playoffs in basketball. After 8 months of the grueling seasons
That's funny.
of regular season,
That's great.
we are in month 9 of
Month
the playoffs.
9. Yeah. It's, who is that? Bob Costas and the other. Who is it? Al Michaels. That was
Don't
great.
touch me, Daddy.
Don't touch me. Exactly.
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. All right.
Tony Khan is just a huge mark that's got a big budget paycheck.
It's terrible with the long-term storytelling. They do a terrible job of long-term booking. They've done
a very good job with their football team.
I'll tell you a little story here real quick, guys. Father's involved now. Tony Khan ran this all on his own. The father's getting involved. The family's getting a little frustrated because he's losing all this money every year. And that's why the father now has gotten involved.
Well, there you go. Frankie, appreciate the call, man.
I don't want to see AEW go under because I feel like the reason why WWE's been on top of its game right now is because of this competition. Competition is very good. It's just, again, with the AEW, there's no structure there. You have a lot of top talent, like, again, a guy that just left, formerly known as Aleister Black, Malachi Black. Why didn't you do anything with him? Him and Cody Rhodes, I thought their storyline was very underrated, and I thought they did some really good things. And you just did absolutely nothing with him. You didn't utilize him. And there's a lot of other guys. Jay White is another guy who I really like from New Japan. And then, the Guns too. They don't do anything with these. I don't know. I'm giving myself a headache talking about AEW and trying to explain to myself.
Yeah, it's the same
just
talent,
not a good
Louie,
company.
over and over again. The same
Yeah,
talent.
same thing.
It's MJF. It's Paige there.
Even MJF's getting stale. Like I can't even. It's too repetitive. You're a one-trick pony, and unfortunately, again, I can't find myself
And
to watch
Kenny
it.
Omega, he's been hurt so many times. I think he needs to retire. So.
I think the problem with him is, again, if he went to a WWE, I think he'd be a little bit more protected.
Yes.
I just think that he's doing these guys. I heard The Undertaker say it on a podcast. You don't need to do all this flippy stuff every single night because at the end of the day, and I'm not a big fan of Jim Cornette, but he's actually right in what he says.
Oh, Jim Cornette's real good at what he says.
Yeah, like
a lot of
he says it perfectly. These guys are doing moves that are so meaningless. Like, back in the day, I mean, WWE is kind of guilty of it too with the kicking out. Like, but there's a time and a place for that, and that's called WrestleMania. These big time premium live events, as they like to call them. I still call them pay-per-views. That's when even you could make an exception for this Monday when they kept on kicking out of each other's finishers, stuff like that, because there's a real driven keyword, everybody, storyline behind it. With AEW, it's just you have guys kicking. Kenny Omega does the one-wing angel, and the guy's kicking out of it 3-4 times. It's just there's no meaning to it. So it's just I lose interest in it. There's no. It's enough of that. I'm giving myself a headache talking about AEW.
I know you are, and I do the same thing here. All right, let's see. Let's go out to Mike D. Roche. What the hell does yeet mean? Does anybody know what that means?
No.
It's just a terminology now. Like a lot of the kids are using,
and it's selling like crazy.
Yeah, no cap and all that stuff. It's just slang words. I actually got a shirt.
The next champion.
Yeah,
because his marketing.
Oh yeah.
Also, triple threat: Bianca versus Jade versus Naomi. Bianca possible heel turn. Is that what we see here? Because I
called it.
That whole storyline, and I'll get back to this in a moment. Let's go out to the phone lines here on Turnbuckle Talk. Here we go. Let's go out to Sun Devil Dave using his second call here. Welcome to Turnbuckle Talk. What's on your mind tonight, boss?
Great job again, guys.
Thank you.
Real quick, I know we're talking about longest reigning heel turns and former professional football players, great wrestler reigns, but I was looking at just longest overall reign. I know they're talking about like Backlund and Bruno Sammartino. Do you know who has the longest WWE title reign? Is Fabulous Moolah. 28 years.
Does.
I didn't realize that.
I didn't. I thought it was also Bruno Sammartino. Didn't Bruno
Sammartino has it as well?
Right.
And in fact,
2803, but Moolah had it for 28 years, 10,000 days. Something crazy. I didn't realize that she had the title, so I thought it was ridiculous. So real quick, I noticed that WWE before this WrestleMania moment here, in April in Vegas, they've been kind of transitioning now with these triple threat matches, and,
Yeah.
and you know, Ripley lost her title. Now you're probably thinking it's probably going to be a triple threat with Belair, Ripley, and Sky. Then now there's a rumor, of course, you're seeing CM Punk may go into a triple threat with Rhodes and Cena. So what is causing this movement now where he's seeing triple threat? Is it just think they want to get more bang for the buck? Is it just better storylines? Where do you see going this? And then, of course, with LA Knight winning it over Nakamura, there's a lot of title switches right before WrestleMania, which is, I thought, kind of odd, but maybe you could help me out with this.
Well, I would say this. I'll just adjust my opinion on this point. I mean, more star power, right? I mean, there are storylines aplenty. You got Cody Rhodes defending his title with finishing his story last year. Can he hold on to it? Will he be able to hold on to it versus John Cena, who now is a heel? Hold on a sec, Dave. Curtis, we got Sun Devil Dave on here. We'll finish up with him. We'll come out to you. Stand by. All right, my friend?
Yep.
All right. Sun Devil, we'll go back out to you here as a man in the phone lines. I mean, listen, John Cena now is heel. He has The Rock in his corner. He sold his soul. Is that the storyline there? Him and Travis Scott, which we'll get back to Scott in just a moment here because there's an update on him. And then you include CM Punk, which I think could be the real storyline at this point because he's never headlined a WrestleMania. So if he has that triple threat, is that a headline WrestleMania, or do you do that triple threat to get him in the main event versus Cody Rhodes, which they have some storyline there?
Right. I like the night one where you go with the, Reigns, Rollins, CM Punk, and then he gets the favor from Heyman.
Right.
If he wins that match, then he gets to fight triple threat the next night. I think that would be amazing. I don't know. That's a lot of wrestling.
That's a lot of wrestling. Yes.
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 I think he's on. You got to really. He's not really made out of glass, but you got to really kind of baby CM Punk because he's on his last legs. But that's asking a lot. But you never know. And then, real quick, we got 4 nights at Tampa in May.
I know.
That, right?
We all need to get together and
Isn't that
go.
crazy?
We need to get
Saturday
together
night
and
main
go.
event,
Yeah.
NXT or the Sunday event NXT, right? Or there's 2 NXT events?
I got to go to Saturday night main event. You got
Right.
NXT, you got Saturday night main event,
Monday Night Raw,
and
then
That'll be at Raw June 30th.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Wow.
You'll be at Raw, and then you got NXT Tuesday, Monday Night Raw. Is there a Sunday night, or is it just? I don't know how it works, but I know there's Saturday night main event, so I got to take a look at that.
There's just 4 nights. I'll have to look at Ticketmaster, but there's
Yes.
4 consecutive nights in Tampa of wrestling, so that's going to be great. And glad to see it back here in Tampa.
SmackDown
again.
on Friday, so it's SmackDown on Friday.
SmackDown
Saturday
Friday,
night
okay.
main event on
Saturday. Must be
Saturday.
Probably NXT on Sunday.
Monday Raw.
Sunday, and then
it
Monday
must be
Night
NXT
Raw.
Sunday and then Monday Night Raw. So
Yeah.
there's your 4 nights.
There you go. I don't know
That's
if I'm
gonna be
going to all
crazy.
4 nights, but I'll go.
Yeah, I'm going to go Saturday
night main event. See Jesse the Body Ventura, who, by the way, was 1 year as a color analyst for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look that up, kids.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
1990. Yes. 1990.
And he was also color analyst for XFL. Don't forget that.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was.
That's right. While he was mayor.
It's over, McMahon.
Our governor.
All right. All right, Sun Devil
But
Dave.
thanks again, guys.
Yes.
Have a great one, Dave. Thank you.
Have
Yes.
a great rest of the week. We'll see you tomorrow at work.
Say it. Great job.
Everybody.
All right, there you go. Let's go out to Curtis here. Curtis, using your second call. Welcome to Turnbuckle Talk.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Man, we're doing good. We're almost at 3 hours.
Great. Hey man, it's only 3 hours because we're having a great damn time.
I'm telling you, besides that stupid sign, I don't like seeing that shadow in the back. You know I'm a perfectionist, so I see my shadow and it doesn't look good.
Hey brother, we ain't worried about that, man. We know we on the phone with bling bling Blake. We ain't studying that shit.
Hey, Curtis, I call on Mondays, so, I know the feeling, buddy.
There you go.
Absolutely.
There you go, man.
Absolutely.
All right. What's
All
up?
right, guys. So listen, Turnbuckle Talk. Did we? So was I the only person surprised that Roman Reigns showed up on Monday?
I don't think we were surprised. I just think at the end of it, it was kind of like surreal because nobody thought, and you could see Heyman and Punk there, and we've seen the interaction, and it was, what's the word I'm looking for? It was gracious. It wasn't like hostile because CM Punk helped Roman Reigns at the time with the Bloodline match, but then there was a favor. And now this is the first time we see the interaction because they were kind of, teasing it a little bit. And we've heard in the background that there's going to be a match. And of course, you're going to do a match between CM Punk and Roman Reigns.
Of
But
course.
now we finally see the physical altercation. We're like, okay. Now we got something. Now something is cooking.
Yep. Well, here's the thing. Wrestling is going to a place of greatness. Like, wrestling was already good. Don't get me wrong. Like, let me retract that statement. The Attitude Era was great. Okay.
Best era.
After the Attitude Era, we had the Ruthless Aggression, which was okay.
Mm-hmm.
You had 10, 15 years of John Cena showing up every Monday, every Friday, whatever. We have a lot of great superstars that were rolling with Cena. You had Edge and Christian and the Hardys, and you had Randy Orton and Batista and all these guys. And now wrestling is great again.
Cooking.
It's really, I look so forward to watching wrestling again. Like, I literally come home from work on Mondays and Fridays, and nothing else is matter. Like, hey, what the hell? What happened on wrestling?
Yeah, I haven't had to change the channels for a while there, Curtis.
I may have to start getting off early here to watch wrestling because it sounds so good, and I saw the highlights and stuff, and I watched some of the recap. But
You got to watch that. You didn't see the cage match?
Oh, I seen it. Yeah, that was
Dude,
so good.
And I still can't get over that. That was a classic.
Yeah, that
It was a classic.
yes.
It was greatness, and it's just like this wrestling. Listen, we thought last year's WrestleMania was huge. This one's already turning out to look like it's gonna be better than that one.
I know.
The way they're planting the seeds for things to happen at Mania, it's I'm very much vested into it. I really am. This is probably the best time. I mean, you're never gonna beat the Attitude Era. You're never gonna beat that era. But right now, I would say it's really cooking, and whatever Triple H is doing, man, keep doing it. And he's also has a really good supporting cast around him. You know, he's really got his finger on the pulse, and this guy is working constantly to scout new talent as well.
He's got great experienced people around him.
Yep.
I'll even go ahead and say this. For a long time, when NXT first started up, remember the early days of NXT? Well, I shouldn't say the early days, but like the Oscars. I remember when Shinsuke Nakamura first debuted against Sami Zayn. That's one of my favorite matches of all time.
Yeah.
One of my favorite matches of all time. If you haven't, go back and go look at that match that they had. Just the crowd, the energy there, like, and them two just made magic. Like it's probably in my top 10 favorite matches of all time. But those early stages of NXT with Finn Balor and the rest of them, you know, some of those NXT events were better than what Raw and SmackDown were putting out.
He was the NXT champion.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes, absolutely.
I got a question to ask you guys. We were talking about wrestling at work.
Okay, go for it.
You know, everybody has their GOAT debate.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
We always do this, yes.
How hard is it to pick out one GOAT for wrestling?
It's not hard.
You don't think so?
Nope, it's one guy, in my opinion.
Who's the one guy?
It's Stone Cold. He single-handedly saved the WWE slash WWE. It's Stone Cold. I mean,
during the Attitude Era, Louie,
Yeah.
he did. Yes.
Guys, I'm sorry. I hate to tell you this. Everybody wants to say Ric Flair. I get it. Great wrestler, probably one of the greatest of all time. Stone
Hulk
Cold.
Hogan.
Yes, it's always going to be Hogan for me
Yeah.
because Hulk Hogan transcended the business.
And that right there is the conversation because everybody has their opinion.
Yes, gotta love it.
Everybody does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Listen, I love Stone Cold. I love Hulk Hogan. I was a huge Dusty Rhodes fan. I was a huge Ric Flair fan. But for me, I love The Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, how could you not love John Cena? Like, you know, I remember my oldest son is about to be 20 years old.
Yes.
And I remember him and his brother, who just turned 18, we're in Walmart. They are spazzing out because they want the spinning title that John Cena has.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
In
Yes.
Walmart. They're spazzing out in the store.
Yes.
So but other than that, for me, And people might not agree. I'm a huge Shawn Michaels fan. Shawn
I like
Michaels.
Shawn a lot.
Shawn Michaels does not get the credit he deserves. He
No,
doesn't.
I mean it was because of all the issues and stuff like that. I like Shawn, but I mean, if you had to ask me, I like Bret a lot better. I loved Bret Hart growing up as a kid, and I think I was so upset when they did the heel run with him because I really liked him. I was like, oh, come on, man! And they did the whole Canada versus USA thing, the flagpole matches and stuff. I loved all that stuff, but Bret Hart, he was just so good at disrespecting the United States and America, and then he would go to Canada and be like he would be cheered like a god, you know what I'm saying? And it was so good. I again, Bret Hart, you got to put him up there too.
You got to definitely put him up there. I think you got to put Undertaker up there.
Oh yeah,
right?
the backbone of the company.
And for me, you could say the same thing about Edge. Edge is so underrated because people don't,
Curtis, we always have this conversation about Chris Jericho. Even though he's wrestling in AEW, he's reinventing himself. Chris Jericho is a great wrestler. We're gonna look back and we're gonna say, damn, that guy with what he did in WWE for all those years, the longevity.
You got Jericho.
Yeah.
You got Sting.
Yeah.
You got all these guys. Even now,
Sting's a sad case for me because what could have been if Sting goes to WWE and maybe you get a chance to see Sting versus Undertaker, and I think everybody wanted to see that match. But Sting and what kind of global superstar he could have become if he were, and again, it doesn't work for everybody. People say, well, maybe his character would have been ruined, right? Well, Booker T is a great example. Booker T goes from WCW at first, he's kind of a joke, and then he's King Booker, and he got over, and he's a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Maybe you do the same thing with Sting. Who knows? And Sting goes over there too.
We all remember Goldberg's run in the WCW.
Yes,
that was legendary.
Yes, but the run in WWE, the first run was not good. I didn't think it was memorable at all. I watched some of the matches. And
I think when they did that with The Rock, I don't think they should have did that with The Rock to introduce Goldberg. I thought they should have did that with somebody else, kind of, how like WCW built them up with the record and stuff like that. I felt like they should have just had somebody like go out there, shoot a promo, like just rambling off nonsense and like saying stupid things to the crowd, and then you hear the doom, that would have pumped up the crowd, and you slowly start to build. When you put him, and I'm gonna say this, when you introduce a WCW guy right off the rip with a megastar in The Rock, that's tough to do. It's tough to do, and it kind of makes a break, and I felt like Goldberg was kind of hindered by that a little bit.
I think they waited too long too. I think it would have been nice for when that
was the problem with a lot of the bigger stars.
The worst angle they ever did was the WCW invasion without the WCW guys. They had but who else did they have? They didn't have Goldberg. You didn't have NWO. You didn't have the main. You didn't have even have Ric Flair at the time. I don't think it was just so poorly done. And what could have been like, if you want to go back into a time machine for wrestling fans, you would want those guys to come on over and do that invasion and do it right. I mean, Scott Steiner didn't come over until late. I mean,
absolutely.
It was.
I think? You know what I think? What the problem was with that? Vince McMahon pulled the trigger on that way too early.
Yep.
I think he should have, once he purchased that, he should have had Shane McMahon. Obviously, they did the angle. I now own WCW, but they should have sat down with those guys. They would have made a boatload of money if they would have been patient. I don't care if a year went by. Try to get those guys on the same page to do and really like hammer in this angle. How are we going to do this? We got to incorporate ECW and all this stuff, because I love the ECW. Not everything about ECW, but there was a lot of raw talent. Jericho made his way through ECW.
Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero.
All those guys did.
Yes.
So, in my opinion, I feel like they rushed that WCW invasion way too, like right away. You had Booker T coming out. No, man, you should have waited 6 months to a year to really start getting things going when people least expected it. A WrestleMania thing. How crazy would that have been if, instead of Booker T coming out, what was it, Monday Night Raw, doing the scissors kick to Stone Cold? How crazy would it have been if you had Rock and Stone Cold at WrestleMania? And then at the end of that match, whoever won, Booker T come out and just attack both of them.
Yeah.
And then that's how you start that angle. And because he was the last champion of WCW, and then you start to slowly introduce these guys. I felt like they pulled the trigger way too fast on that.
They pulled the trigger too early here, Ralph, because the story was when they did the match between Buff Bagwell and who was the other guy? Was it Booker T at the time? They did that match.
Yes, it was Booker T. Yes,
such a terrible match because the talk was at the time they were going to take WCW's talent, which wasn't great. Yeah, then Mike Awesome and the Thrillers and Lance Storm and Hugh Morris, and again we talk about Booker T, but they didn't have the big guys. They were going to take
big names.
They were going to take those names and they were going to have a separate entity. They were going to have a separate show like ECW. They were going to do a WCW show, but because the rating tanked so hard and because the match was so terrible,
yes,
scrapped that altogether.
Vince McMahon could have got more out of that if just like how Tony Khan right now does ROH and AEW, he could have done the same thing in the WWE. But the only problem is that just like ECW, it never worked out when Vince McMahon took it over. It wasn't the same. It wasn't where he wanted it to be. Yes, exactly.
You know what else? I'm gonna tell you, the invasion also would have been great. Is that Stone Cold and Rock in the ring is perfect. If you would have had the NWO come out and just beat them down and spray paint their backs like everybody else used to.
Yeah, there was so much they could have
everybody
done.
that was in the faction in WCW that came to WWE at the time when Vince McMahon bought it, it wasn't the same.
No, and then you had Stone Cold and
Vince didn't
Kurt
make it like
Angle switching teams. That it was just due to a lack of star power on WCW's and they really couldn't do anything. I think the only good thing that came out of that invasion pay-per-view or all those angles was that the Jeff Hardy and Rob Van Dam match for the hardcore title. That was a classic. That was a good match.
That was a good match.
Great that was about it.
That's still a great man. Oh my God!
Listen, Stone Cold joining up with WCW makes about as much sense because he was fired by Eric Bischoff, which is another guy you didn't have in that invasion, which would have been amazing. I get it. You have Paul Heyman and Stephanie McMahon. It made no sense. It's like bringing the NWO out to defend Sting. I know Sting was in the red and black, but he wasn't in the white and black at the time. So
he fought the white and black NWO for the longest time, and just to have that. You stole his moment, man.
And then he had that red and black too, NWO. That was nuts.
Oh, Sting with the goatee. Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's not Sting.
Curtis, appreciate the call, man. All right, man. Good stuff. All right, let's go out to the comments, and then I think we'll wrap this call up.
Peter, before you wrap it up, can I make a small announcement here? This Saturday, Ross Township Community Center, if you live in Western Pennsylvania, the celebration of Bruno Sammartino. Corey Graves will be there. Also, his brother Sam Adonis, and I am friends with the promoter and his father Dan Polinsky, who is putting this on with the Pros of Wrestling. They always put on a great card. Eight matches. It's bell times at 6 p.m. I will be there along with Smoking Jim Frazier. So stop by and say hello to us, and we'll be there as well. And Corey Graves will be there, and it's going to be interesting. Actually, Corey Graves is going to be his old character.
Interesting. All right. So we'll see if he comes back in the fold there as an announcer. I don't know what's happening with that situation.
Well, he's in NXT right now. So.
All right. So there you go. 640 BRNSN. Also triple threat Bianca versus Jade versus Naomi. Bianca possibly heel turn. I could definitely see that. Certainly looks like she may have known. Of course, the storyline is Naomi did it for her. Did she know? It feels like, what was it? The Rock storyline there with Rikishi.
With the Rock.
I did it.
Well, I called this, Peter, and I said this when Jade Cargill first came to the WWE. She is a singles wrestler. She's not a tag team wrestler. And she's looking for singles gold like she had in AEW. So I predicted this, and I knew this was going to happen sooner or later. And she is going to be a singles title holder.
Well, she should be. And I would love to see her versus, I think, eventually Naomi, but it could be Bianca. Yeah. It could be a match. Now, I think you wait until next WrestleMania. You build up to that. Maybe if you want to turn Bianca heel.
SummerSlam.
I think you could turn her heel because already Montez Ford, her husband, is turned heel.
Yeah, she's getting that whole gimmick, too, of her. It's getting stale.
Yep. The Rays will be sold tomorrow because of the sign falling. Thank you, Christopher Cole. Appreciate that. So it's a good omen. Hopefully they are sold, as you can see.
Oh, I'm part of the ownership group, Peter. I put in $5.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Ralph. Appreciate that. Let's go out to Mike D. Rose, Omega, and Jericho, born in my hometown. Very cool. Mike again. Moolah had the belt that long. She really didn't have any competition except Wendy Richter. She fought jobbers. Yeah, that was very true. I mean, who else did she have there? I can't even think of any women wrestlers at that time. Stone Cold shows up for Cody to counter Rock and Cena. Yeah, a year too late because it should have happened last year. What an amazing reception that would have been to have Stone Cold show up instead of The Undertaker, although it was great for The Undertaker to choke slam The Rock to hell. But it would have been...
I'll throw out 2 names Moolah fought.
Okay.
Consistently. Mae Young, and she fought Leilani Kai. She fought them too a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. So there are a couple names there. But going back to it, Stone Cold's been was talked about last year. WWE couldn't meet his financial demands. Louie, is this the way you go? Stone Cold shows up to help Cody out with The Rock and Cena.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like you said, a year too late, but I mean, it's Stone Cold. You got to do it. The rivalry between him and The Rock can't be matched. I mean, like those guys had great feuds, and why not? Why not now? I mean, I get why they did The Undertaker. I get it. And I wouldn't be surprised too if we don't see a lot of the same stuff happening like we did see last year. I do think The Undertaker is going to be involved somehow, some way. But yeah, you got to have Stone Cold, man. Just you have to. But how do you do it? Like it's got to be if it's Stone Cold, it has to be perfect. It can't. I don't know. How do you do it? How do you bring him into that fold? Because there is a lot going on with. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff. We don't know what's going on with like the triple threat. Like, is there going to be implications for the main event? There's still so much. But one thing I will say real quickly, they have to be careful with doing stuff like that, because now you're making the Elimination Chamber and the Royal Rumble a little bit meaningless, because it's like, all right, you always have a chance. Now you really got to work to get into that main event WrestleMania. But I understand, as long as it's not watered down, they keep doing this type of stuff.
Good point, Ralph. You bring in Stone Cold there to counter with against The Rock and Cena.
I believe you do that. It just makes the match more entertaining. I mean, Stone Cold, when he comes and appears for anything, it's always an entertainment thing, and that's a great. That's what this business is about now, is entertainment.
It is, absolutely. Let's go out to this right here, WrestleMania main event. Barry Horowitz, who used to pat himself on the back, versus the Brooklyn Brawler. Your thoughts?
Yeah.
Seriously,
That's my man, the Brooklyn Brawler, man. There you go.
This guy sucks.
Shut up!
All right, good stuff there, Mike. Appreciate you. CJ Mosley has been cut, 32 years old. I don't know. Maybe the Bucs are interested. A little bit long in the tooth, but he would be a veteran presence.
$4.5 million is what I'd offer for 1 year. Maybe a little bit less than that. That's about it.
Yeah, he's probably going to look for more than that. And then on top of it, you get Mosley. You got Mosley at 32, Levante David at 35.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Age and defense, man.
Yeah, that's
I heard some talk about Cody Mock. What's going on with him?
He's still there. He's still there.
Oh,
Somebody
yes.
suggested to get Becton. I think it was Frankie in his Christmas list, aka Madden wish list. All right, we'll end off on these couple notes here. According to Brian Alvarez, Travis Scott is actually training to wrestle currently, which Dave Meltzer has said also, while adding something he's heard from his WWE sources. The thing is, like, he's in the main group. I mean, it's like the main Hill group. It's like The Rock, Travis Scott, and John Cena. Meltzer claimed it's like he's not just some celebrity who just, happened to be there for the angle. He's in the lead Hill group. Yeah. Either way, Scott's actions in Elimination Chamber have garnered him a significant amount of heat. Veteran Bully Ray had some harsh words to say about Scott, opening that he deserves to have his jaw shattered and wired shut, while also adding that he hopes Rhodes is the one to give him his receipt. Bully's fiery response seems to be out of experience as well, as he recalled having his eardrum broken in 2015. The injury Rhodes reportedly suffered at the hand of Scott and endured the consequences of the injury for a year later. That is painful. I have vertigo. I can't imagine how your equilibrium is off. I wonder how it affects the match. I get it. You're trying to make it realistic and put Scott in there, but man, that was not good. And you could hear the shot, how he just shattered his eardrum. I mean, your thoughts on this, Travis Scott? Take my money here, the Fiend. Not the Fiend, but Fiend. That's his song there. Of course, the official song of WrestleMania 41. Wrestling. Louie, you buying this?
Yeah, because I did see something where he said he wants to stop. He wants to start doing it and stuff like that. I mean, you know my feelings about him. I'm not a fan of his. I know why WWE brings him in. It's more viewers and bigger audience, and I completely understand. But I'm not with all the satanic stuff he does. Especially he has a lot of in his music. It's scriptures right out of the Satanic Bible and stuff like that. I mean, hey, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into. I'm not a fan of his, and a lot of people got hurt and lost their lives at his concert, and he just showed no remorse for it, never stopped the show. That's why I'm not a fan of his, but I hope Cody gives him that potato right back.
Yeah.
Big, what does Nate Diaz says? A big, nice stocking slap. I mean, he's gonna. I mean, if it was me, all jokes aside, if I had the opportunity, absolutely, I'm gonna give you a potato. Absolutely, I'm gonna give it right back to you. And
Give
that's
him a
not
potato.
cool, man. I know what that's like, having vertigo and stuff. Just not fun. It just feels like you're drunk all the time.
Ugh.
I have a dream match for you. Logan Paul versus Travis Scott.
Who do you want to win? Well, how about Travis Scott versus Bad Bunny?
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. Yeah, that would be a good one. Yeah.
And I would be rooting for Bad Bunny because I think Bunny can wrestle. He can wrestle.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
I like what Bully Ray had to say. You know, I wasn't really a big fan of him, but I'll give him his respect, man. The dude's straightforward. He's a straight shooter, and I like that. And he's very honest with his words.
Yes.
And I will say that. I mean, he had a pretty decent run in TNA. Not gonna lie.
He had a very good run with what was it? The heel group that was like NWO.
Oh, Aces and Eights.
Aces
was
and
it?
Eights. Yeah, Aces and Eights.
Aces and Eights.
As he was the husband of Brooke Hogan there. They did the
Oh,
whole
that was
thing, and
that was timeless.
that was interesting.
I'm actually gonna go back and go look
I
at
had
some of
the
those
privilege
highlights.
of meeting him. I had the privilege of meeting Bully Ray.
What was he like?
He's good. I had the privilege of meeting Kazarian, Cody Rhodes. A couple of times I met Cody Rhodes, once with ROH, once with AEW. I used to work security for ROH here in Pittsburgh at the Stage AE event place. Where all the ROH tapings were. I met Tony Atlas.
Oh, wow.
I met the Young Bucks. I met a lot of people.
Good stuff.
I have a cool story to tell about the name Cody. So, real quickly before we go. So, around the time when Cody was doing the ROH stuff, doing the Bullet Club stuff, which was I thought it was an amazing time for Ring of Honor and stuff like that. And I loved the Bullet Club shirts, especially the American Nightmare one. I actually still have that somewhere around there.
Nice.
So my girlfriend winded up getting pregnant, and we could not think of any names. So we were just sitting down, and I was just kind of flipping through the channels, and ROH was on. It was obviously the taping, and then Cody Rhodes was shooting a promo, and then they said his name, and then we both looked at each other, and I was like, how about it's a boy, why don't we just name him Cody? She goes, yeah, that's his name, and that's my son's name, Cody.
Wow. All right. Good stuff, man. That's good. That's excellent. Good stuff there. All right. So Raw was at Madison Square Garden on March 10th, of course, a couple days ago there. WWE is taking their main roster show to Europe and United Kingdom for the rest of the month. Check this out, guys. They will continue that case with the next 3 episodes of SmackDown, which will run their usual primetime Friday night slot on USA Network after taping a few hours earlier in Barcelona, Spain on March 14th. Bologna in Italy and March 21st and London on March 28th. But now with Raw being on Netflix, those shows will run live on the streamer as they happen. In fact, pay attention. Next week, March 17th in Brussels at 3 p.m.
Yep.
You mean for Raw, Peter, right?
For
Raw.
Yes, for Raw. For Raw. 3 p.m. next Monday in Brussels. 4 p.m. on March 24th in Glasgow, Scotland. And March 31st from London, another 3 p.m. start. Fellas, what do we think of the 3 p.m. starts? It's kind of funny because I remember Raw. Remember when they used to preempt it for Wimbledon coverage and you have it taped, but now it's going to be live, although it's going to be at 3 p.m. I have to work. Maybe I can get out of work early.
Well, I have to end my fishing expedition because I'm going to Ocean City, Maryland next weekend.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
So you're not going to get a chance to watch it?
Well, I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going fishing, and I'm looking at some property down there. So,
man, you gotta bring your phone with you. Just watch it while you're fishing.
Yeah, I can watch it on my phone. Yeah, I have a Netflix subscription. I have my tablet with me too.
There you go, Louie. All right, you watch
I can sit by the dock there by the boardwalk and just watch and fish at the same time.
There you go. What better day than that? Louie, you watching 3-4 p.m. there on Netflix on Monday?
I don't know if I'll catch at 3, but the beauty of it is you can go right back to it and stream it. But what I am looking forward to is the crowds. The crowd out there in Europe, sorry, United States, but the crowd out there in Europe, that's a whole different atmosphere. Yeah. There's a lot more energy. You see it. I forgot, where were they when they did, this is probably right around the time Triple H first kind of took over. I think it was like the first European tour that he did. Yeah. I can't remember where it was,
France.
But was it? What was it?
Well, it was France.
Was it France? Jay came out. That crowd, it was a little bit smaller venue though, but that crowd was so electric, and you knew from the rest of the night it was just everything that was going on. They were chanting, they were saying things. I didn't even understand what they were saying.
Yeah.
But again, you see the difference in the show on like how much you see the performers. Just you see those guys, they feed off that energy, and the matches are so much better. It's insane. Not to take nothing away from the U.S. crowds.
Yes.
But those little bit smaller venues out there in Europe, man, there's just something different about them.
All right. Good stuff there. Christopher Cole says glass breaking intro is iconic, and I'm right. Hi, Peter. What's going on, boss? How you doing? All right. Last announcement or last story we're talking about tonight, and then we'll get you out of here on Turnbuckle Talk. Hall of Fame has not been officially announced, but it looks like the Natural Disasters will be inducted along with Lex Luger. Michelle McCool, Triple H. Confirmation comes from the surviving member of their massive WWF Tag Team Championship holding team, Fred Typhoon Ottman, a.k.a. Tugboat, and brief.
John Tenta, he died, I believe, right?
He did. So what is Fred Ottman known for? One of the worst gimmicks of all time, one of the worst intros of all time. You got to watch this, Louie. And by the way, WWE has made a WCW channel with all the old highlights.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who is Fred Ottman, guys? He was only Tugboat in WWE, but who was he in WCW?
I know this. Give me a second.
I got to play some music here.
You might have to, but I know.
How about new?
How about the Shockmaster?
Oh my God!
Remember, he goes to the
wall. You can hear Ric Flair in the background. I told you it wasn't gonna work. Oh my God! I'm gonna go back and watch that tonight too.
Who did the voice of the Shockmaster at the time? Do you guys know this?
Wasn't it? Was it Vader?
Vincent Price.
It was not. It was Arn Anderson.
It was Arn Anderson.
Get out of here! Wow,
Arn Anderson, and they couldn't stop laughing.
Who's back coaching Cody Rhodes?
There you go. Yeah. This during the Bill Apter podcast, Ottman talked about getting the news that he and the late John Earthquake Tenta Jr. will be members of the 2025 Hall class from WWE executive Bruce Pritchard. It's an honor. It was crazy when I got the phone call. Mr. Pritchard called me. Couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, what an incredible thing. I always say there are so many guys that are so worthy to be there that aren't yet. For this to happen is amazing. The Natural Disasters were only together for a couple of years as an act, pairing up in summer 1991, departing then the WWF in 1993. They won the belts from Money Incorporated. And in 1992, after turning babyface, two massive men that weighed a combined 852 pounds. It's a lot of beef. They were known for their power. Ottman credits something else for their popularity, however. I think because we were physically able to do a lot of stuff that smaller guys did, we worked together. So we worked so good together. He also shared with the Apter why he and Tenta were a great team on and off the screen. Earthquake was literally my brother from another mother. I tell him that all the time because we cut up and joke and have a good time. And John was just amazing as an athlete. I was proud when they put us together. When we were on the road, it was like, I hate to use this term, a married couple. Wow. We go to the movies, we go shopping together, all that stuff. And we were hot on TV at that point in time. I remember going with his family, my family, to Disney World in Florida when we were there. And that was when we were hot off of TV. These mean hills, we were riding in the Dumbo ride and we're riding It's a Small World After All. It was great. I never had to worry about him. He never had to worry about me. We were always where we were supposed to be. We'd be early, whatever needed to be done. We did it. And that makes for perfect business. Sadly, cancer took Tenta in 2006 at the too young age of 42 years old. Before the natural disasters, Earthquake was a foil for the company's top baby faces in the late 80s, like Jake Roberts, Hulk Hogan, who at the time was allied with Ottman's Tugboat. Tenta would go to wrestle in Japan, and for WCW as the Shark. Remember that? The Dungeon of Doom against Hogan. And eventually returned to WWE in the late 90s and early as Golga. Didn't know that. Congratulations to, again, the natural disasters. Of course, Triple H, Michelle McCool, Lex Luger as honorees of the 2025 WWE Hall of Fame on April 8th.
The one that I'm really happy with, guys, is Lex Luger. He's been through so much in his life, and he's done some, the thing with Elizabeth and some other stuff. So I'm really happy to see that he's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Good for him,
there you go. And let's go out to 6040 BRNSN, becoming a webhead here on Turnbuckle Talk. Love it, man. Thank you very much. Luger wants Sting to induct him. Interesting. Well, absolutely. They had that relationship forever. Sting and Luger together.
Yes.
And of course, that's the reason why Sting joined NWO Wolfpack, because his friend Luger, they always have a long history. It was Luger, it was Sting, and it was Flair that were carrying the early WCW and NWA at the time. That's
last match for Nitro. That was the last match for Nitro, Sting and Luger. Sting and Ric Flair.
Sting and Ric Flair. And of course, you had Luger always involved in those matches and of course, involved in the Four Horsemen. Just a great stuff there. And I feel bad for Luger, of course, ended up in a wheelchair, now doing DDP yoga, trying to walk on his own. Sad situation there. It's good for him. Good that he's in the Hall of Fame. Of course, being involved with Miss Elizabeth and all the other stuff. We can get into that another day. Louie,
I got some weight I got to drop, Peter. And as soon as I do that, I'll be getting my knee replacement surgery, and I'll be walking.
All right, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So, guys, let's go ahead and wrap it up right there.
Wheelchair.
Yeah, there you go, Ralph. Go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution.
Ralph Williams, RW Media. Catch me on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter X platform. Please follow me on Twitter, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's a disgrace. I only have 207 subscribers, so please subscribe to it. Watch all my archive shows on there as well. And don't forget to catch me, the triple header of Ralph, every single Saturday. Starts at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. The Ralph Williams, Tony Moreno Show, 1250 a.m., 92.5 FM, The Answer. And then at 9 a.m., on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter X platforms, and the Huddle Sports Network. The Sports Wrap Show with me, Ralph Williams, Scott Morganroth, Leo Haggerty, and a guest of our choosing. And then also at 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., 1250 a.m., 92.5 FM, the Sports Corner Radio Show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoke, and Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. We are going to have some serious free agent talk, and also in the NFL, also mock drafts. And I want to put a shout out to Robert Morris University, who won the men's basketball. They won the Horizon League championship.
We got all that, kids. There's a quiz at the end of that. Ralph Williams, bodyguard of the Berg. Appreciate you.
I had to get it all out, Peter. You know what I mean.
I got you, man. I got you. Thanks a lot for your time.
It's a lot of information I had to get out.
I know, buddy. You always got that great information. Ralph, we appreciate the time here on Turnbuckle Talk.
Thank you, Peter. Sorry about last week. I couldn't make it, but
it's all good. Priorities. Got to get your health right. The shot looks good, and you're doing well. Enjoy the fishing. All right.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy that ocean air. That's what I'm going to enjoy. So,
all right.
Have yourself a good one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Good stuff. Shot looks good, man. Does look good. All right, Louie, go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution.
I'm Louie of the Frozen Pirate Podcast every Wednesday. Well, we're changing the day now because now you can find me here on the Sports Web. So we're going to be doing this on Thursdays now, but tomorrow, 8:30, around the NFL with the Frozen Pirate Podcast and company. That's going to be a good show. We're going to be breaking down free agency. We're a little unfiltered, so earmuffs, kids. Anyways, make sure you tune into that. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Frozen Pirate Podcast on YouTube. Follow me on X/Twitter, The Frozen Pirate Podcast. Also on Instagram. And that's it. Actually, I have one more thing to say before I go.
Yes.
The Royal Rumble is all about returns and all this good stuff.
Yeah.
Where the hell is Papa Shango, man? I'm waiting for a Papa Shango Royal Rumble appearance.
You know who Papa Shango really is?
The Godfather, yeah.
Yes,
but I want to see it one time, just one time, him come out as Papa Shango, man.
I don't think he liked that gimmick very much.
Just
he liked
one
that,
time.
The Godfather.
I just want to see it one time. The Godfather was cool.
Right, but you can't even do the Godfather gimmick anymore. You can't even do it.
Nah, if the Undertaker can do the biker, go back to being the dead man and back to being like a hybrid, I'm sure he can find an in between there, man. But I want to see it one time, Papa Shango, one time.
All right, let's go on to this comment. Russ Vaughn. Flying Brian Pillman was the lady killer. I went clubbing with him after the shows. What a sad story. Because first and foremost, and I know we're about to get up, we're about to end the show here, but this is great. Russ, I had no idea you were connected to wrestling. This is awesome, my friend. Thanks a lot for tuning into the Evolution. What a sad story, because that guy's about to get over. He's already over. He's going to WWE. He's setting up this, this major storyline with Stone Cold and shooting his wife and all this other stuff. And then he gets into a bad car accident and he tries to come back from it. And he's not able to come back from it. And of course, drugs and just it's a shame though. The drugs that's was his downfall, because he was such a talented wrestler, and him and Stone Cold, the first awesome Hollywood Blondes there. Yeah. And what a shame, because what could have been with his story. And when he had that injury, when he was over in WWE, because he got into the accident or they signed him and he got into the accident, he wasn't the same wrestler. He's never going to be the same wrestler. So what a shame.
His kid's doing stuff at NXT now. So, I mean, I like to watch him a little bit. I don't know about the whole gimmick change. I guess he's trying to find his own way. But sometimes you just got to carry that legacy. I get it. Like, nobody's perfect in this world.
Right.
But it's up to us to break those to break those cycles and break the chain. So that's all I got, man. It was an awesome show today. Awesome show.
I'm telling you, we did over 3 hours of great content, Bucs content around the NFL, and of course, Turnbuckle Talk. Louie, we'll see you on Wednesday nights, man. You're a top free agent now, so you're stuck with us, all right?
No, that's fine, man. Hey, like I said, I'm happy to be on the show. I love doing the show, interacting with everybody, reading the comments and stuff like that. I love it. I got to get new sound bites here, more appropriate ones. I'm very big into The Sopranos. So when we do around the NFL, I have a lot of Soprano sound bites.
Okay.
But
all right.
I'll figure something out. I'll figure something out. All right,
I
man.
got you. All right. There you go. Louie from the Frozen Pirate Podcast, as the sign is dead. Now they're in the floor. As you can see, the raised Tropicana field has fallen down and it's staying down. So I have to get a new sign. But thanks a lot to all the guests tonight. Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports. Thanks a lot to Ralph Williams, the bodyguard of the Berg. Of course, Louie from the Frozen Pirate Podcast. And of course, all the guests, all the phone calls, all the text messages, including my shadow right back there. You got to love that. We'll get that fixed, guys. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Friend me on Facebook at Peter H. Blake. Do 3 things. We'll keep it down. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for fans of the Sports Web and the Tampa Bay sports fan, it's your time. We'll see you next time on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Hopefully not with that shadow in the back. Guys, have a great night. And as always, go Bucs.